Clowney. I still look at like that roster before they signed him last year, and it's like, I mean, you had to do something. It just didn't work, right?
Yeah.
But man, I feel like Cleveland's probably going to end up regretting this. I mean, who knows? If he's healthy, I still think he can be an effective player. A $10 million player, no. But he also just seems like maybe, at some point you have enough injuries, even though he's still relatively young, and you might just be broken down.
Right. That's what I was going there. Like, how many times does that really, that saying, that phrase, exactly what you said, man, because we all do it, right? Yeah, if he could just stay healthy. Jordan Reed's a guy, I was like, man, this guy's fantastic when he plays half of a season for
Right.
Washington or wherever he is. I mean, he's a really athletic, very, very good tight end, big target, great hands when he plays. But so how many times does that come back to? I mean, at some point, right, when you say that year after year after year, like how many times does that come back to really bite you? Typically, it just is what it is, right? You just unfortunately are just one of those people that just can't stay healthy. It's just, I don't know, it's just in your DNA, it's just in your makeup. Other people, go their whole careers and they never miss. It's just everybody's different. Like, how many times does that really change, especially at this point in his career?
Well, exactly. And especially, so this is a knee. With Seattle, it was a core. Houston, he had a shoulder. So, I mean, it's been a variety. I mean, I guess you could look at it and say, at least it's not the same thing every time. But
yeah,
if everything where you don't want to get hurt gets hurt at some point and costs you significant time, that's probably not a good sign, for your staying power in the league. So, I still think Clowney is. I mean, I get why people are attracted to him as a possibility, and I don't think it's just because like the play he made against Michigan in the bowl game, or the fact he was the number one recruit. Like, I mean, there were a couple games for Seattle where I was like, that guy just made a huge difference in that game, But gosh, it's quite a gamble at this point. And yeah, it's, it kind of reminds me, it's very different, but like, I thought Adam Humphries was good here. Like, I thought he was good just because when he played, he was effective. But gosh, he missed so much time that ends up being not a good signing. It's not a good signing because the guy couldn't stay healthy, but it wasn't. But it was a good signing in terms of, like, I think they were right about the player. It's just that you got to have him on the field.
Yeah, I've been a big proponent of the backup quarterback for a long time in this market. Anybody who's listened, certainly Willie knows, Chase knows. I just think that you need to always have a good insurance policy. So many times when you don't, the team just, your season is over. And if you do, you can keep it going. You can keep the ship afloat or the boat afloat. I was one that said, hey, maybe they should kick the tires about Alex Smith months ago. Obviously, that's not in the cards now that he's retired, if he was willing to accept being a backup. Are you okay with this? I mean, it's okay as long as Tannehill's standing upright for 17 games this upcoming season, right? I get it. It's a non-issue. But what if he has to miss a month? Are you okay with what their backup plan is, or do you think they really need to address that?
No, I mean, I think it's a fair thing to bring up, and yes, I know. I mean, you've been banging this drum, and obviously, I mean, over the years, they eventually got a little bit better. Better was when they got Tannehill, and then it's like, hey, by the way, he's now going to be your high-paid starter. But even like Gabbert was a little upgrade over Castle, but neither of them are great. It's hard. It's hard to have a good backup in this league. I will say, actually, I can't take credit for this. A commenter on one of my stories at The Athletic said, what about like grabbing Kyle Trask like later in the draft, somebody like that. Like, to me, if it's something like that, then I don't think that's a terrible idea. It's just a matter of, you got to balance that against all the other needs. And is there an offensive tackle there that could be your starter in a couple of years that you're sacrificing to take the QB? But something like that would, I don't know, might not be a terrible idea. I just, like, some of these 7th round flyers they're taking, they take Cole McDonald last year, and it's like, before camp even starts, like, okay, this guy's got to go away.
I'll never understand that. I don't get that. They've done it twice with quarterbacks now.
What's that?
They've done it twice with quarterbacks that they draft and then
Yeah.
they don't keep, not even for 1 year.
Right. It's just like a quickly oh, never mind. We're punting on this. So
Right.
to me, like, you like go a little higher then, maybe. And who knows? A guy like Trask, for example, it's, I don't know, like where's like Kellen Mond going? I'm not sure. I guess maybe he's going a little higher than that. You don't want to, I don't think you can afford to. I mean, you're gambling to some extent in this league. And I think one of the gambles the Titans are taking is that Tannehill stays healthy, right? But I don't disagree with you, Darren, that if you could draft someone and so you don't have to pay a lot and maybe you could groom that guy into a decent quarterback, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I'll also say this. I think Logan Woodside's improved a lot, and I think the staff thinks a lot of him. And that's like he's done some things to earn his spot. I still would also question, can you go into a game against whoever and feel like Logan Woodside can win a game or two for you with Tannehill out for a month or something like that? I don't know that I'd feel great about that. So I don't hate the idea. It's got to be the right guy.
Talking to Joe Rexrode, our colleague from Robbie and Rexrode Morning Show, 102.5 The Game, plus columnist on The Athletic. And Joe, you always do a good job of being all around the map on the Nashville scene with what you write about. Let me hit you on a couple of things you've written about lately. Just give us what kind of outside perspective did you get on the hiring of Shea Ralph? I was pretty impressed. I liked my first impression in the interview I got a chance to do with her the day after she was hired or introduced at Vanderbilt. But what are outside people saying about this hire?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like, wow, they actually got Shea Ralph out of UConn, huh? Because I think a lot of people, in the sports media world and in the women's basketball world, kind of have looked at Shea Ralph as, a real strong possibility. Maybe not the absolute unquestioned heir apparent, but maybe the leader in the clubhouse at this moment to succeed Geno Auriemma. Now, when the heck is he going to retire? Who knows? I mean, it doesn't look to me like he's necessarily slowing down, but that's kind of been how she's viewed. Now, I would say to those people, if Shea Ralph comes in here and turns this program around and wins, now she has a much stronger case if she wants to succeed Geno Auriemma. Now, if you're Vanderbilt, you hope that she does that and she gets the program to a level where why would she want to leave it? But I think there are a lot of people, that were sort of like, ooh, wow, that's a big get, for Vanderbilt. You could also say it would be nice to have someone who has been a head coach. But I think that when you talk about people around UConn, give her a lot of credit for what she has been to that program, really has been a big part of their success, big part of their recruiting success. And yeah, UConn recruits, Geno recruits, but you're talking about someone who has been an apprentice to one of the best coaches of all time. So to me, like her involvement in the game, her success as a recruiter and all the things that she's taken part in, like that looks better on paper to me than, a Stephanie White who was a head coach, but had not been in the recruiting realm, had not really, been a coach in college, so now of course, let me also raise my hand. I love the Stephanie White hire at the time. So, I love this one too, but we'll see.
So, Joe, what do you think we learned in the Vanderbilt-Tennessee series over the weekend? You wrote a good column about it. And I saw what you saw. I saw some very, I don't know what is the right word to use, but spirited back and forth between the two dugouts, and certainly energized by the biggest crowd that either team had played in front of in a good while. But, man, you talk about maybe a little bit of, great showcase for college baseball, so to speak, to get it on in everybody's attention. That did it, I thought.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I mean, it was loud in that stadium. It was emotional. Both teams were emotional. Kumar Rocker was so emotional Friday, and I thought made a statement. But then I thought the Vols did the same thing the next day, bouncing back. I mean, you got to be dreading it if you're a team playing Vanderbilt, and like Rocker just completely silences you, and then you're facing lighter the next day. I mean, it's just that's got to be tough to get confidence. But they battled. They did more against lighter than any team has done this year. I don't think he had his best stuff, but then Vanderbilt comes back, takes advantage of the air. It looks like they're going to, take that game, and Tennessee just fights back. I just like the Tennessee team. I like their lineup. No one has the pitching that Vanderbilt has with those top two guys, but I do think that Tennessee has a lot of talent still. Some guys who are going to play at the highest level. And if this could become the norm where these two teams, it's the norm in the SEC, right? Vanderbilt's about to take on number 4 Mississippi State. Like, it's constant that you are playing top teams. It's easily the best baseball conference, but it's different with Tennessee, I think. And if Tennessee can get that consistently, I think it would increase the visibility of the sport. I think, like, for me, Vanderbilt baseball has been this tremendous program, and you always keep your eye on them, but not necessarily getting into stuff much until the postseason. But between Tennessee and then also just these two pitchers, this is potentially unprecedented if they go 1-2 in the draft, which is very possible. That also, I think, sort of increases my attention, and I think a lot of people around the sport. But I thought it was great for the sport, and I hope we see more of it. And as I wrote in that piece, I think Tennessee, we'll see how much they prioritize baseball. It can't be at the top of Danny White's list, but people are going to be coming for Tony Vitello, and maybe some really top shelf people if things go a certain way. And so to me, Tennessee should invest in some suites, which you can recruit money. I think you'll sell them. Tennessee fans are starved for a winner, and you've got one right now in this baseball program.
Another thing you touched on, which I thought was interesting, and with Vanderbilt hosting Mississippi State, that when Mississippi State comes to town, you could name your attendance. If you had a 10,000 seat stadium, you might be able to fill it with Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, especially given the rankings of the two teams. We saw that in the Super Regional a couple years ago. But what did you make of Tennessee kind of looking the other way? It seemed like they didn't even want to tell you exactly how many people were in that park, because it clearly wasn't 2,500 or whatever it was. And then you have Candace Lee saying, it looks like they might go to 40% at Hawkins Field this weekend.
Right. And of course, Tim Corbin's comments, which were, have been much discussed. Yeah, well, and that is interesting. And I feel like there's got to be some public record of attendance there at Tennessee. It's kind of weird, actually, that, that's something that Freedom of Information Act should be able to take care of. They should just be announcing that. But I agree. So it's like a 4,000 plus seat stadium. It is, as you walk down through the stadium, you can see the gaps, but from the top, like in the press box, it looked almost full on Saturday afternoon, So I agree. It looked to me like it was more than half full for sure. And obviously Tim Corbin noticed, and I think you're dead on, Willie, in mentioning the Mississippi State series, because it's almost like Corbin's comments, it was like, to me, it was like, gosh, it's almost like he lost today or something, like sort of upset that they had this great crowd and wishes Vanderbilt could have them. But I think it's probably an eye toward this weekend and hoping they can get as many people in there as possible and get a better atmosphere. But like you said, Candace Lee kind of responded to that and said, we're listening to Metro Public Health. But I don't know if you noticed, I noticed a difference in volume last night in Bridgestone.
No question. No question.
I thought that addition of about 1,500 people made a difference. And
there's no question. There was an exchange of penalties. A couple of penalties were called against the Predators, and that's where I first noticed it. The booing and the chanting was at such a higher level than it's been. It's a welcome sight. I just think that I think everybody, especially with outdoor venues. And we talked to Greg Sankey weeks ago about this because we knew it was coming. SEC baseball has great crowds, but the decision of how many people to let in, and because it's outdoors, and are you going to stay on people for wearing masks? That's because you can have a big crowd now. We know you can do it. It's just a matter of how you do it.
Exactly right. You got to be vigilant, and so yeah, maybe that will make a difference, because this is a huge series, and it's still I around Broadway. I'm out there and I'm like, oh man, this seems a little packed in and maskless to me. Like I don't want to go the wrong way on stuff, but people are also getting vaccinated, and so I'm trusting that all of them are vaccinated. That's what I'm going to tell myself.
Let's hope.
We were talking.
Otherwise, it's not going to be good in a few days here. There's going to be some stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking to Joe Rexroad, one half of Robbie and Rexroad, also writes for The Athletic. And so let's get into the Predators. You had Matt Duchene scoring last night, and so he's come in his second game, and the double tap, but gets it in there and gets on the board. But what, your colleague Adam Vingan wrote an article of what the Predators need out of him on this stretch. Contributing last night is a step. I said that really I'd like to see him be a point per game player in these three against Chicago, but kind of what more are you looking for out of Duchene as he works his way back into the lineup and tries to help this team make the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think of all the players who are hurt, I think the one who has probably been discussed the most in terms of, is the buy-in going to be there? Would be Duchene. I don't know if that's necessarily fair or not. I think really the criticism of Duchene is you've got to produce more than 9 points in 25 games. I mean, that's what he's paid to do. So I think it's more that. But I think he's played well in these two games. I've liked what I've seen. I think it's actually kind of impressive that a guy misses 22 games and can come right in and doesn't look all that rusty. And he got right to where he needs to get. That's where he's got to be. On that double tip, he's got to be there a lot, and that's where he's done damage in the past, and he can help this team. But I didn't really question whether he would be like defensively responsible and play with the same effort and passion and grit. It's just Matt Duchene, just like Ryan Johansson. Those guys are paid $8 million a year, and so we're going to look at what they're producing, and if those guys can produce, and yeah, you're right, Duchene, I think, stands apart because he's coming back, and there's a lot of focus on how he needs to produce more. But I mean, that's what it's about. So more of that would be good for this team because of course, he's going to be in this lineup, coming back from an injury, and it's going to be real interesting when Forsberg and Tolvanen come back. Who's out of here? All I know is that Tanner Jeannot, I gotta get his name right. Tanner Jeannot's got to stay in there, guys. I swear, you got to keep that line together.
So that's where I was going to go next, because I heard the conversation that you and Robbie had this morning about that, of who comes out, and that, Jeannot was one that at first it felt natural just to pull him out and put one of the other guys in. Now, that Forsberg and Tolvanen, they're going back in no matter what. Is it Rocco? Is Rocco the odd man out, even though he's playing on the first line?
I mean, I think it's Rocco and Cousins, which is painful, but
yeah,
can
we petition the league for another line? Can that happen? 3 more guys on the bench.
Right. I mean that. I just feel like, and I heard you guys talking about it, Darren, on the post game last night. I just think that line is such a tone setter right now for these guys, and it's a small sample size, but I really just like his feel and some skill, and to go with the absolute dedication to obliterate everything in his sight. I feel like you don't want to mess with that, which makes for some more painful decisions on more accomplished and offensively potent players. But those would be my two. Another thing we were talking about was, a couple times they were out there together a little bit last night, but what about like Duchene as a wing with Johansson? That's kind of intriguing. And I mean, It's going to be interesting to see how he gets that top 6 all put together whenever they get these guys back.
Real quick, Joe, before we let you go, I want to ask a question that I brought up to Teron Davenport yesterday when it comes to the Titans. The middle linebacker position for this team, you feel good about it going into this year. Rashaan Evans, you got to make a decision there on what's going to happen, with him and the 5th-year option. But do you think they address that? Do you think that there's more pressure on those guys there in the middle, and David Long coming around and trying to get more playing time, or how would you address that position?
So you're saying like in the draft?
Yeah. Would you address it? And do you think that there's more pressure on the guys there in the middle for the linebacking core?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think Rashaan Evans had a step backward last year, so I don't, because his options coming up here, what, in May? And I don't anticipate that being. I don't anticipating them picking it up.
And Jayon Brown's only on a 1-year deal.
Right, and Jayon Brown's the one. It's huge for them to get him back for this year. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, the hard part is, like, are you addressing that now with a forward-thinking pick, or are you realizing that you badly need corners and another edge and a receiver and offensive? You can't hit it all. But I would not be stunned by that. If there's someone they love at that position, getting that guy in, because Jayon and Rashaan could both be gone real soon. And we think, David Long, I think has been promising early, but we still haven't seen him, in an extended starting role. I mean, I thought he handled it pretty well once Brown got hurt last year. So, and obviously he's inexpensive right now, but no, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. I mean, I think he's not going to have his option picked up, and maybe that means he's moving on anyway, but this is a big year for Rashaan Evans in this league, I think. And he's, because I was pretty excited about what he was turning into in 19, and for whatever reason last year, it went the wrong way.
Joe, we appreciate the visit. We'll be listening tomorrow morning. Keep up the good work.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Joe
it.
Rexroad writes for The Athletic, also half of Robbie and Rexroad mornings 6 to 10 leading up to our show. Masvidal and Usman put on a show the last time they stepped into the octagon, and DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC, is putting you right in the center of this weekend's title fight. All you have to do is pick either main event fighter to win this weekend's UFC 261 title fight. DraftKings Sportsbook will give you 26-1 odds. Yes, that means you just bet $5 on either fighter to win, and if they walk away with the belt, you cash $130. There's no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test than to put your money where your mouth is. All you have to do is download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that code 1025game, and when you sign up, turn $5 into $130 if the title contender of your choice wins. That's right. Use that code 1025game. This is for a limited time only. DraftKings Sportsbook. Remember, you must be 21 years of age or older. Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
From all-day talk.
You can roll with that team. That's good enough to win a lot of football games.
To the biggest game.
The Los Angeles Dodgers have won the World Series for the first time since 1988.
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search the game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Winds will be gradually picking up today. So will the cloud cover. It's going to thicken up as we hit the afternoon. High temperature 75 degrees before storms move in tonight. Cooler for Wednesday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Tune in to ESPN 1025 The Game every Tuesday afternoon at 4:30 for ESPN's Trevor Maddich joining me, Jared Stillman, on Stillman & Company as we dive deep into the college football world and all the latest from the SEC. It's all brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back, and you can hear every game this season on ESPN 94.9. It's been over 500 days without professional baseball in Nashville, and First Horizon Park is ready to welcome you back safely. Tuesday, May 11th is opening day as the club hosts Memphis, and with new ballpark safety policies, the ticket availability is going to be extremely limited. Alternative ticket options include booking a luxury suite for a night of Sounds Baseball, or watching the game from the relaxing patio at 3rd and Home, Nashville's newest sports bar. See you at the ballpark for Nashville Sounds opening day, May 11th. Go to NashvilleSounds.com for more.
At Founders Brewing, we asked ourselves, what if we brewed a beer perfect for any occasion? A beer that makes a weekday feel more like the weekend, and the weekend feel more like an adventure. What if we celebrated taste and flavor and life's simple pleasures? And what if we brewed a beer that could go where you go without slowing you down? What if? Chase your what if with Founders All Day IPA. Low ABV and full flavor that goes where you go. Visit foundersbrewing.com to find All Day IPA.
Jared Stillman.
Dad, why are we doing this? Because I said so. That's how Mike Vrabel is running the operation, at least with the fans.
And company.
Getting the because I said so answer doesn't give us anything.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Daunic, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
You know the drill by now. Just keep listening. You're going to get a key word that you need to text in here at some point before we get out of here today for your chance to win a T-Mobile Hockey Home Gate giveaway. That's a Dos Equis prize pack, including a case of beer, dessert from Nothing Bundt Cakes, a T-Mobile prize pack, and food provided by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. Just keep in mind, you must be 21 years of age or older to enter. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase on this gorgeous Tuesday morning. We'll have David Poyle coming up in less than 30 minutes, about 25 minutes from now, our weekly chat with him. Dan Shonka coming up at high noon. We'll talk NFL draft with him. Looking forward to that. He always brings the energy. He brings it. In fact, I've got an Our Lads draft guide right in my hand right now, the 2021 draft
look
guide.
at you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I goofed. He sent me 3, one to give to each one of you, and I meant to bring him last night to Bridgestone Arena to give to you guys, and I totally goofed. So that is on me. Thurman Thomas.
Guys,
my bad.
goofed.
My bad.
Was that your play? I was like, I have goofed.
Look, I've messed this up. But I meant to get you guys those last night, but I forgot. It's a little bit hectic yesterday, but I do have one in my hand, and it's fantastic.
We forgive you, and it's okay.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Because things, listen, we all forget things. I just forgot Jayon Brown's name, so that happened. I tried to cover up for it, but I figured I'd tell him myself because it was funny. I was like, yeah, the middle linebackers, Rashaan Evans, and what's the other one?
I feel like that's starting to happen to be more. I think my brain is just full. I think for every name that I learn, like a new hockey guy that comes up, like last night, Chicago's got a couple new guys. I think, if they got 2 guys, then 2 names escape my brain somewhere. I'm like, I see a person I've known for 10 years, and I'm like, hello, hey, how you doing? You didn't want to say Al when it's John,
Right. Well, and people too, like,
and I blank even on the show. Like, I'm thinking, the coach of the guy, like I should know. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute.
It happens to me. It happens to me a lot. And, it's because there's so many different things that we talk about for 4 hours on a daily basis, and you're trying to just bounce around from one team to the next and, keep it going. And it's just, I knew Jayon Brown. I knew who I was asking
right.
about, but I'm like, and it's not even like, it's one of those, it's so blank that you don't even know what to say. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Jayon Brown. That's who I meant.
Chase, you would be proud last night. So
I'm always proud of you, Darren.
I did my usual, get home, watch on the fly till it gets on the loop. All right. So once I start seeing the same thing over, on to the next. Then I watched Sports Center, SVP. Then once I've seen through all that, and I was like, man, why can't I go to sleep? That's honestly, when hearing you guys talk about this, my biggest problem is I have a hard time at times. I don't know. I get into these patches. I hesitate to even use that word. I'm scarred by all our bad patch talk that we had so much in the last 2 years. But I get in these where I can't sleep. And I was like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, I can't shut it down. I cannot unplug. So I'm flipping through, and I just happened to come in towards the very beginning on the History Channel. It was a deal with Mick Foley, and I watched the whole thing. Cool.
I thought you were going to say you watched the Stone Cold doc.
No, I didn't know. I probably would have, but I found this and I don't even know the name. They were trying to find Mick Foley like hardcore memorabilia.
Yeah. So
and it was Stephanie, Vince McMahon's daughter, and
Triple H.
And she's married. Is she married to Triple H? Is that right?
Yep.
Help me.
Yeah.
I
Paul Levesque, but Triple
okay.
H.
Yeah. So he was in it. She was in it. Of course, Vince. But they were trying to find all the hardcore because there's all these collectors out there. It was basically they were trying to go around and trying to figure out a way to convince these collectors, hey, can we have that for the WWE Hall of Fame or their museum or whatever? And they had to keep sweetening the pot. So anyway, I found it for somebody who doesn't pay attention to it like you. But I did think of when Mick Foley came into, he did the show with us. He came in studio. And I'll never forget that day. And I was actually looking through last night for pictures, and I unfortunately have no evidence that ever happened. I don't.
I have some. I have a picture of. Well, he's come in a couple times because I interviewed him one time that he came in, but I have a picture with him.
I think what stood out to me is I expected him to be this larger than life character, right? This big, massive guy, not like Andre the Giant, but this guy and he wasn't. He was pretty normal size, right? I think that's what really jumped out at me is that it was not this
smaller guy.
Oh, you're right. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, where I'm looking, he was not what I expected, but he was a super, super nice guy. But I know you follow that stuff. I was kind of proud of myself. I was like, did I just watch this whole thing from start to finish? I did.
So they signed a deal with A&E, and A&E and History Channel are, kind of in the same thing, to do biography, to do the original biographies. And so they just debuted it with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Roddy Piper's this week. But then they also have WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, and that's what it was. Foley's going around trying to find his mask, and Kane is trying to find the original Kane mask, and Triple H and Stephanie are hosting it. So that's cool that you watch that, because I think that stuff's neat, because you never know what happens to stuff. Like, people may not know this, but so Conrad Thompson, which is a name you should know from the early days of the game, but has a mortgage company in Birmingham, has done a lot of business with us, but he hosts a series of wrestling podcasts. So he owns a bunch of Ric Flair's robes that he has found through the years and bought Ric Flair's robes. And he's now ironically married to Ric Flair's daughter. I don't know. He's got several.
You should see some of these
several, like a dozen?
These guys' houses that they showed up to.
Yeah.
They've turned into shrines. They've turned their house into a wrestling museum.
Well, I have his belt behind me. So.
And by the way, and you would think, oh, live in the basement. No, they married kids, like family.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying about Conrad, he married Ric Flair's daughter. So he bought the robes and then married his daughter. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that stuff.
I found it fascinating because I don't follow it like you and
sure,
Brandon Walker and Adam Vingan and all you guys talk wrestling. Although I don't follow it like you guys, and so I thought it was cool for him to openly talk about his characters. I just thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, and if you haven't, Foley's an interesting guy, no doubt, because he's not your, like you said, he's not your prototypical wrestler. He's not like chiseled, and he's always been
former
kind of
football player, or this
guy
who's 6'8", 380 pounds, right?
Yeah, but if you haven't seen the Stone Cold biography that they did, I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, like Willie, I even think you would enjoy it. It's really well done, and it just, you kind of see who the person is and why he was the way he was, and this, how he became Stone Cold. That it was just kind of a fluky deal that he became Stone Cold and became one of the biggest superstars in wrestling history.
Did you ever go to a wrestling event ever, Willie, even when you were a kid?
No.
I don't think I ever remember you ever talking
real
about
wrestling, like my school's wrestling meet, like real one-on-one wrestling. I went to several of those, but I've never been to a professional showcase like that.
We might have to, when Monday Night Raw comes back to Nashville, or even SmackDown, anything, when the WWE comes to Nashville, we may have to take a DDC trip.
Okay.
I'm only going to do it if Willie's going to. It's got to be a show trip.
We'll get it set up. We'll go. We'll get it set up. We'll make a night of it. It'll be fun. We'll see if Adam,
you know what has actually got, like, I used to be the guy that was a total snob and like not paying any attention. I don't care, all that stuff. But you know what really makes me laugh is all of the GIFs. Like, there's so many GIFs or GIFs out there from that make me laugh every time. Like the facial expressions and the gestures and stuff. It just hits the moment so perfectly. I'm like I've learned to appreciate the showmanship and the production of what they do. Even though I'm not really interested in it, but I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I will do it. I will go. It's like the NASCAR thing, Darren. I started off as a huge snob on that. Like, why would anybody want to do that? I got buried on the air.
They're not athletes.
Big rookie mistake. My biggest rookie mistake I ever made on the air, saying, I don't think these guys are athletes, man. It's not an athlete.
No,
I got buried.
Claws there. Out. People came out after him.
I really don't know how I survived, honestly. I mean, honestly, Norm Parton, instead of just, outcasting me, canceling me, which he could have probably, went the other way and said, let me show you how this works. Right. And thank you. I'll always be thankful of Norm for that, because I have much better appreciation of what that takes, and I was young and dumb at the time.
Real quick.
So this is Chase, you can be my Norm Parton for the
I will
the pro wrestling,
because like what I was going to say, they, the amount of money these guys make is crazy. Like, Darren, you like net worths and doing that. How much would you say Triple H is worth?
I mean, I'm so out of my realm. I have no clue what these guys.
Because I know he married into the family, so now he's a executive vice president with WWE.
He's probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
150.
Yeah.
So
it's good to be him.
I mean, The Rock, what he's done, turned wrestling.
I mean, he's a little bit different, right? I mean, I understand, like, his net worth, I'm sure, is like 500 million or something ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, Steve Austin is probably up there.
Like, what's Mick Foley?
Let's see. Steve is 30. Mick Foley is worth 18.
Okay.
So it's not, I mean, that's pretty good for a guy like him that had to, his wrestling career was cut short just because of the style that he had, the hardcore style.
You mean willing to do anything? That they talked about that a lot.
He's
like
missing an ear.
Yeah, I mean, I was like seeing things like him on top of a cage and falling through the cage, jumping off the top of a cage onto a table. I was like, you're out of your mind. What are you doing?
You know what else maybe appreciate the pro wrestling? The movie The Wrestler. Have you ever seen the movie with Mickey Rourke?
For sure. Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
Many times. All right, we'll come back. David Poyle in about 15 minutes. Hour number 2 of the DDC next.
This is Ryan Ellis, and this is Smashville. Out to EOC now. Ellis, what's over the score? Ryan Ellis, first one home on the power play.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Pro Golf is coming to Nashville this May with the Simmons Bank Open. Text us the keyword golf to win a weekend pass for 4 to enjoy the event in style, including food and drink, plus a Predators gift pack, including polo shirt, balls, and umbrella. Text the keyword golf to 615-737-1025 and enter to win.
Need some cash for that home improvement project? Hey, it's Willie Daunic. Loan Pronto can make it happen with their zero-cost refi program. Now listen, Loan Pronto is now here. It's changing forever how you'll get a home loan with lower rates, no lender fees, and an all-digital, no-hassle process. You can refinance your home mortgage now and get cash out of your home's equity. People getting checks for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Now that's a stimulus check. Hey, rates are still super low, and Loan Pronto's all-digital platform makes it easy. They can cover your closing costs. Call now. Get cash out now to fix up that home office or remodel your kitchen or even pay off credit cards. Loan Pronto's zero-cost cash-out refi. 615-499-5780. 499-5780, area code 615, or loanpronto.com. 499-5780.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not available on all loans.
Every sports fan knows that game day is not complete without a tailgate experience. With social distancing in place, 1025 The Game and T-Mobile want to help you continue the tradition with a hockey home gating party. Listen weekdays for the keyword to text and win. Each week, we'll choose one lucky hockey fan to win the T-Mobile hockey home gating experience, complete with food, dessert from Nothing Bundt Cake, Dos Equis beer, and a prize pack from T-Mobile. You're bound to have the best home gate in the neighborhood. Happy home gating from 1025 The Game and T-Mobile.
Do you hear My Computer Career ads and think, I don't know anything about computers? Well, you don't have to. Before starting, many graduates could turn a computer on and off, and that's it. And now they're IT pros. You could do it too. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new life in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUC HD2 Laverne, online at thegaynashville.com. We are
ESPN
1025 The Game. Live from the wholesaling studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
1025 The Game.
Second hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase on this Tuesday. Pro Golf is coming to Nashville this May. Yeah, that's next month, not far from now. Simmons Bank Open. Text the keyword right now, golf. Golf, G-O-L-F. Text it in, 615-737-1025, 737-1025. That is our text line. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com for a chance to win a weekend pass for 4 to enjoy the event in style, including food and drinks, plus a Predators gift pack, including a polo shirt, balls, and an umbrella. Once again, text that word golf right now. Text it in for your chance to enter and win. Hour number 2 here on this Tuesday. I was kind of looking over Jeremy Stackhouse's roster. Willie, I want to get your thoughts. I'm going to start there. They have
Jeremy
lost.
Stackhouse?
Did I say Jeremy?
Yes, you did.
Oh, here we go. Jerry. Did I really say Jeremy?
Yes.
Oh.
I think so too. I want to go back
Okay.
and review the tape. But
I'm not disputing it, but I mean, yeah, I don't know why I said
Jeremy Stackhouse.
Jerry Stackhouse has lost 6 players, but he's added 5. So this has been quite a turnstile
This is crazy
for this
man.
roster. I mean, what do you make of? I mean, you've got a kid coming in from Dayton, a kid coming in from TCU. You had Max Evans and DJ Harvey go to TCU. A kid coming in from TCU. I mean, I can't even keep up with this.
I can't keep up either. I don't. This is what I don't like. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about college basketball was the flow. Like as a fan, not as a player, but really both. Is just the getting to know a team and watching them grow up together. But now it's just like they come and go. It's in and out. It's different guys. I use Kentucky as an example, right? They changed. They used to be like that. And now for a Kentucky fan, it's hard to keep track of who played what year, right? And for a team, a program like that that's so nostalgic, you pay a price for having that. And so now you have a new layer with the transfer rule where you can freely go. You're not building anything, right? You're piecing together a squad. It's like more of a you go to the yard, the pickup game. You pick up guys. Hey, okay, who's got next? Okay, can I get on your team? I just lost over here, but can I get on your team over there? No, I'm on this team. I got this guy's got me over here. That's what it feels like to me.
Is the door 100% closed on Scottie Pippen?
I don't think he's hired an agent, right? Not yet.
he has not.
He has retained his eligibility, but we know how that works, right? I think he's looking for reasons to go pro, not looking for reasons to.
I don't think he's going to transfer. I just think it's just about
whether he's gonna
Right.
take the next step or not, right?
But
Right.
yeah,
NBA
but
career.
these days it's almost like he's a free agent. I don't know. Who knows that he wouldn't transfer if he's gotten to this point? I don't know.
Right.
I honestly,
why do you think
I
there's
will
so much
believe
movement?
because of the rule.
No, but I mean, if you're happy, you're not moving. So why is there all this shuffling around? Why have six
It's
kids
because
left?
it's wild, wild west. It's happening all over the country.
But I think
Tennessee's
because
got
it's
just as
new.
much turnover on their team.
Yeah, I think it's because it's new. It's like, oh, we can do it now, and so
Yeah, I think people are going to find that it's not as the grass is not greener on the other side in a lot of
And then-
cases. That's
and maybe-
it's always been the way it's been, and just because you don't have to sit out, it's not going to make any difference. Half the people are going to go to a new team and be no better off than they were, and they'll have to be starting over in class at a new school. They don't know anybody. I don't like it.
well, that's why
It's
you
not.
only
It's
get
not
one.
a good thing.
That's why you just get the the one, and that's the decision you have to live with. But I think you will see it settle down once you get past the initial of, oh yeah, we can all transfer.
I hope
why?
so. I don't know.
Why would it settle down? I mean, for the same if they're doing it now, I mean, the kids, there's going to keep new crop of kids coming in from high school, and so why would they change? I mean, why would that mindset change?
I just think you won't see as many. I'm not saying it's going to go away. I just think right now it's, kids that it doesn't matter what class they're in, like they've been there for 3 years and maybe they're sick of a coach or whatever, and then they do it. You're going to see it become more of a normal thing. So I don't think you'll see quite the wave like we're seeing now is what I mean.
I know, but I guess I don't understand what would change. I mean, for the reasons that they're doing it, why would that change over time? I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking the question. I mean, I don't know why they got some big kid from what was a 7-footer from Minnesota. I mean, I don't know their reasons behind and why are all these guys jumping ship? I mean, like I said, they've had 6 leave, 5 come in. I don't know their reasons.
I wonder what that looks like relative to, I'd like to see the list of the SEC teams, just for an example, and do a list of how many people are coming, how many people are going.
Well, Florida's been pretty. I've seen a lot of stuff on Florida, right? Or was it Florida? Maybe not. Was it Cleavon Brown? He went to FIU. He transferred to FIU, but I think it was Florida. I saw a lot of going in and out. On the right, it is hard to keep up with. I'll say that. It is definitely hard to keep up with. I'm just trying to figure out, without knowing the answers, what is going to change out. I mean, it's going to be new. The reason I say that, Chase, is it's going to be new for everybody. I mean, it's new now. It's going to be new for the new crop of kids.
It's going to be new
2
for the
years
coaches.
from now. It's going to be new for coaches. So I don't know how they settle this thing down. I think this is what it is, and I think it's only now. I mean, look, people naturally, I mean, you guys know this. People naturally, it's hard to keep people happy, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's got their own reasons. I mean, we see it in Willie, you've watched your kids grow up and play sports. Everybody, every parent, every family, some are happy and some get it, and some they're just never happy, right? And they're never going to be happy. And that's no different at the college, at this level. Some kids just are never going to be happy, or their families. There's going to be a dad or a mom that always thinks their kid is better than they are, or they should be playing more. Or, I mean, that's no different from the beginning stages of them playing sports. I've seen it since 4 years old till now, and I'll see it from now until he's done playing sports. And I don't know why it's any different for people that we're talking about now, right? I mean, it's just hard to keep people. Everybody thinks that they've got, or I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people think they've got all the answers, right? They don't walk in the shoes. They don't go to practice. They don't see all this stuff, but they think they've got all the answers. They show up to a game and they've got all the answers, and they don't. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's going to change. To me, it's like you've opened up the door to the OK Corral. I just don't know why the mindset would change. I've seen the mindset, for decades, and I don't think it's ever going to change. So to me, it's just like, this is just the world it is. And this is what you've signed up for, and the coaches will have to deal with it.
It's just got to be frustrating for Jerry Stackhouse, because he takes over a team that nobody thinks is going anywhere. They hadn't won a single league game. he looks like he's making a lot of progress. He's got Aaron Neesmith. Neesmith gets hurt. Then he does a great job of developing Saban Lee, who's playing in the NBA. He is developing Pippen and Dessou. They become sophomores. The team looks like it's growing. There's a crop of freshmen that look pretty good. And now it's the team's – I was looking forward to seeing that nucleus stay together and grow for another year. And now that's completely scrapped, and you got a whole new set of guys coming in. It's starting over. But as you said, Darren, that's becoming what it is, unfortunately. But I guess some coaches will thrive and some won't. But it's all about corralling the players, right? Grabbing the transfers that are coming in. And I don't know if people are encouraging people to leave or what, but I don't think it's a good thing, to be honest with you. I just don't. It's not going to get more college basketball fans, I don't think. That's sort of my theory. I also think this. I don't know what you guys think. I just don't. I will believe Scottie Pippen is ready for the NBA next year when I see it. So it comes down to, would you be willing to play in the G League if that's what the next step was? What's better? Come back to the SEC, be all SEC, be maybe all American candidate, be part of a team that can start to win? Because that's what it's looking like. If he were to come back with these guys they've got coming in, it could be pretty exciting about what they could do.
All right, we must pause this conversation. It's a good one, but we must pause it. Let's bring in David Poyle, Predators general manager. He is on the line with us for his weekly chat. David, how you doing?
I'm good today. Just getting ready. We're heading off to Chicago in a couple hours for 2 games up there. 2 more of the biggest games of the year. Well, all the games are the biggest games of the year, as you know, right now. So we win last night for us.
Isn't that what makes this fun, right?
Exactly. I'm glad that we're in the race. Way better position today than we were at the first part of this year. And again, last night was really good, both on and off the ice. As I think you know, we were able to increase the attendance at Bridgestone Arena to 33%, and it really made a difference. I thought last night it was loud. It was a fun atmosphere. I was almost going to say it was almost back to normal, but I know the players all commented about it, so it was good. It really helped last night.
No doubt about it. Matt Duchene back after missing 22 games. He was back in the lineup Saturday night in Raleigh, in the lineup last night against Chicago, playing on the wing on that third line. One, what did you think of Matt Duchene's return to this roster, and what do you guys need to see from him moving forward?
I thought in the 2 games he's played is really good. Obviously, getting the goal is great. To me, he's created lots of offensive chances in his first 2 games back. Something that probably was missing a little bit from, I'd say, not only singling out Matt, but just about everybody's game at the first half of the season. So I think he's really excited to get back on our team and try to make a difference. Much the same as probably Ryan Ellis when he came back. And I love what Ryan said, is that this is a totally different team. I think Matt sees the same thing. So again, numbering our lines 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all playing not equal ice, but everybody's getting a lot of ice time right now. And they all have a little bit different things that they bring to the table. Like obviously Sissons, and Trent are very aggressive, hard hitting line, but now we're starting to get some scoring, on all 3 of our lines, and that could make a big difference for us because we've been hard pressed to get to that what I call that magic number, 3 goals. We couldn't do that against Carolina, but last night we got 5 goals, and Duchene got the first goal. So he got a goal last night. Cunningham got a goal, and in the second line, got a goal on the Herd line. So it's all spread around really good. But I think Matt's a talented player and could really make a difference for us at this time with generating offense, creating chances, drawing penalties, and pushing back the other team's defense and taking us from sometimes playing a little bit too much in the defensive end to playing more time in the offensive end. So it should be a big add for us down the stretch here.
After Thursday's loss to Carolina, it was decided that you guys were going to give Eric Goodbranson, who you acquired from Ottawa, the ad right at the deadline, guy who's logged a lot of NHL games, team him up with Ben Harper, and you've done that the last 2 games. One, what do you need to see more out of Jeremy Davies as he's logged now more time? I thought obviously Thursday night was I called it a little bit of a welcome to the NHL moment. I thought, he got roughed up a little bit. It tends to happen early on in your career. What do you need to see more out of him moving forward, and what did you make of Branson's 2 games that we've seen to this point?
Well, on Davies, again, we've entered so many young players into our lineup with pretty good success. And I think for Jeremy Davies overall, some good success, played in some big games for us, some big wins for us. I think there's been some inconsistencies. And I think that's when I say that, that's always a little bit of a catch-all for all younger players where they have to come up, go back, down a little bit, learn a little bit more. But I think, right now the pace is got to be quicker for Jeremy. I think some of the moves that he was getting away with and doing successfully in Milwaukee are now starting to hurt him a little bit quicker with the puck. He's certainly got the hockey sense. He's certainly got the vision, but quicker feet, quicker moving the puck, spending less time on our end, not making those turnovers. So I'm hoping that he's going to use this time to look back at the games he's played, maybe look at some of the film, see where he's had some success, and see where maybe he could have done things a little bit differently. But all in all, it's another young player that we think has a nice future for us. And for Branson, again, you bring in, and this is a tough situation at the trading deadline, you bring in somebody like Branson that's, a first-round pick and been a pretty good player in the league for a long time. And it's certainly, I don't want to say easy, but I guess that's what I'm trying to say, to default to the more veteran player. And he brings a wealth of experience, and he brings some a lot of size and a little bit more grit, which is how we're trying to play. So, the decision kind of a double whammy, right there where Branson's pretty calm and collected back there, and just, I think, gives us a little bit more experience on a defensive and, fairly beat up all year long. So, for a couple of games, I think it's a good ad for our team as we push to make the playoffs.
Speaking with David Boyle, Predators general manager, he's on the line with us. We've talked about Mikhail Granlund's play all year. He's been spectacular, currently centering that second line. He had 2 assists last night, almost 23 and a half minutes of ice time, and almost 9 minutes of special teams play between power play and penalty kill. Also took 13 draws, led the team in block shots. I love his play behind the net. Why has this all come together? And it seems like on John Hines' watch for Granlund.
Well, I think when you just rattled off those stats, I mean, pretty easy to figure out that he's one of our most valuable players. And last night played the most of any forward, and you'd have to think his contribution was as high as any one of our forwards. And that's, for anybody that's been watching the Predators this season, and for sure in the last 20 games, I'm not sure we have a better forward right now than Mikhail Granlund, the way he's played in, as you just said, in all situations. He's really versatile, and most of his time with the Predators in the last year and a half has been on the wing. And then because of injuries, which we've had our fair share of them, he's got moved back to center, and it seems to be a really good fit for him. And again, for us, that used to be his more natural position when he was drafted and played younger. But because he's so versatile, he got pushed over to the wing and to fit in wherever the team needed him. But right now it looks like that's the right position for Granny, and the right position for our team to give us the best chance of being successful every night. But he's having a really good season. He doesn't get the most points. He probably, like all offensive players, you'd like to see them put up more goals or assists, but his value is in a lot of intangibles. And as you said, most ice time last night, special teams, all those things. He's clearly one of the key forwards that John Hines goes to in every situation.
Talking to David Poyle, general manager for the Predators. And David, I was reflecting a little bit last night when I saw that it was Calle Jarnkrok's 500th game. And of course, they're all with Nashville after you guys traded for him at the trade deadline several years ago. But he's so steady. I never would have thought that I would say here he is leading the team in goals, but he just seems to do whatever is necessary, that you can put him anywhere. And a guy like that, I'm sure you understand better than anybody else, is so valuable to a team, and it goes beyond what the numbers say.
I like what you're saying. Steady. I mean, it's we always throw around the word consistency all the time, and if you were going to list our players as the most consistent from game in and game out, I think Yarny would always be at the top of the rung there. He again, much like Granlund, is very versatile. He's a right-handed shot that was drafted as a center. We used him a lot at the center when we first traded for him, and then he's played a lot over on right wing, and now here he is playing left wing. So you can't really ask more for that. He's now found his way onto the power play, which he's played sometimes in the past before, and he's been able to score a couple of goals in the power play. He kills penalties for us, so just a very versatile guy that can play in all situations. And if you can get more players like that, like Granny and Yarny, that are pretty versatile and really, I'd say, very good players defensively. And we often talk about how good we want players to be offensively, but defensively they're really good and solid players. And I think that's one of the changes that we probably made in the second half of the season to get to where we are, is that we've been really starting to goal with Saros and Pekka, of course, but our goals against in our defensive play and our penalty killing, all those things that have improved. And it's like players like Yarny and Granny that have really helped solidify us being able to play the correct way.
You guys made a commitment to Luke Cunnin. You certainly traded for him. You traded a good asset and such a steady guy, Nick Bonino, to get him. And it looks like Luke Cunnin, with each passing game, gets more comfortable in the role that he's playing. And we thought he was a big force last night for sure. Are you really encouraged on how he has come on so strongly in the last 10 games or so since he got off the injured list?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Again, another player sort of fitting in with our team in a not a perfect way for the first half of the season, and a couple of goals that rated the first two games, if my memory serves me right, and then long dry spell and some inconsistencies and an injury. But since he's come back to this, what I refer to again, this new team, he's now a big part of it. And last night, not only scoring a goal, but getting shots on goal, getting hits, playing again, as John Hines like to say, the right way. It looks like we've got a good up and coming young player that should be a big factor in this stretch drive to make the playoffs and in years to come, in terms of the growth of his game and the potential that he has. So really like Luke Cunnin since coming back off of his injury.
I know your focus is solely tomorrow against the Blackhawks and the next challenge, because it's such a tight race and there's not much margin for error. But with each passing game, UC Saros continues to make a statement. He's just been tremendous. And the longer he does it, it's such a bigger body of work since he's been sort of given the reins to go out there every night. What's your thought process now, big picture, with him, or is it still a little too early to really go down that road?
Well, the thought process or the big picture has always been the same, as that we felt that there's a transition, happening in the last little while with he and Pekka. We knew this year was going to be a tough year with a condensed schedule, and we thought that they would both play a lot, and they have both played a lot. Though now Juice has clearly taken over the reins, but we do place back-to-back games coming up next week. We do play a series of 3 and 4, 4 and 6, those type of situations, and I think we're going to need both goaltenders. But again, it's inevitable that it's eventually going to be Pekka's last year, and I'm clearly not saying that it's going to be his last year this year. And I'm looking forward to talking to Pekka after the season to see what he wants to do. But at his age and where he's at versus where Saros is, I mean, this is the natural progression, and Juice is doing a fantastic job. There's no question that we wouldn't be where we are without Juice's play to this point in this current run that we're in. And again, for us to make the playoffs, we got to keep challenging him. He's going to have to keep it up. And I would love to make it and get into the playoffs for so many reasons, but one of them is, again, it would probably Juice's chance again to play in the playoffs. And I think that's really where goaltenders earn their stripes, if you will, with playoffs. performance playoff round wins, those type of performances.
We're talking to Predators general manager David Poile. Joins us every Tuesday at 11:15 here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. And David, Philip Tomasino is somebody we've talked to you about throughout this season, as he's had a tremendous year in the AHL. He's been on the taxi squad. What are kind of some things that you've seen out of him, and do you think that maybe there's a chance, albeit your team is played well as of late with the current lineup, but you got to get some injured guys back, but what are you seeing out of Tomasino?
Well, as I think everybody knows, Phil is going to be a big part of our future. I think as soon as next year, I would think that he would get a really good chance in training camp based on his development this year, from the World's Junior playing for Canada to his performance down in Chicago at the AHL level to his training camp here to now being with us in the taxi squad and just being around our guys. Never say never this year with all the crazy things that have happened from COVID to the amount of injuries that we've had. But I think Phil's just in a really, really good spot. If the opportunity presents itself, I don't think we have any hesitation to put him in there for a game or so. If that happens, that would be fantastic. If it doesn't happen, I think the big thing to stay focused on, and I know Phil's focused on, is just to be getting better every day and to get himself bigger and stronger in this offseason so that he gives himself every chance to play for the Predators next year.
We talked to you earlier about Matt Duchene coming back into the lineup. How close do you think you are to getting some of those guys like a Forsberg, Tolvanen, and others that have been out of the lineup for a while? How close do you think they are to coming back?
Getting closer, but not quite ready. We're probably going to get a couple of guys that actually have a chance maybe to play at the end of this week. Every time you ask me that question, I hesitate a little bit because I've been usually wrong. I'm trying to push it a little bit.
Now you know what it's like to do 4 hours of radio.
Good point. Good point. So we're getting closer, but as far as specifically, I think maybe Phil's best opportunity might be next week.
And finally, David, you're a guy that has played more games and been in the league longer than your team has been a team. Patrick Marleau passing Gordie Howe last night for most games played. Just how cool is that for the league? And you saw the support that Vegas showed him when they lined up to congratulate him, but just a tremendous accomplishment by a guy that has been in some battles with the Predators over the years.
Yeah, unbelievable. I remember in the interview process, not that we were going to get him, and at that time where I was, and he was from Saskatchewan, from a farm. I mean, small city, very, very shy, and they were like, he was just thinking, like, can this guy really handle the NHL, the big city? I mean, you could see his talent and all that stuff, but there was some, wow, just coming from this small town background. And as I say, look at me now, 23 years later, he's got the record, son with his wife. There's four kids, so everybody grows up. So it's fantastic. He's always been a really top player, and obviously had some great games against the Predators, some of which I'd like to forget. But congrats to you, Patrick Marleau.
Chris Mason mentioned that last night, David. He says, I think I padded Patrick Marleau's stats some during those prime years of his. He wasn't looking back fondly on those.
I can remember lots of his goals. So it's fantastic. You really have to be dedicated to be able to play that long, and he's just done a fantastic job, and still a guy that can make a good contribution to his team after 23 years. Awesome.
No doubt about it. Appreciate the visit as always. Go enjoy some deep dish pizza, hopefully over some victories. Thanks for doing this.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
David Poile, Predators general manager, every Tuesday at 11:15. Predators are 6-0 versus the Blackhawks this season, and they'll continue that tomorrow night. A little bit earlier start than normal, 6 o'clock start. It's going to be on NBC Sports Network and, of course, right here on the Predators Radio Network, 102.5 The Game. I'll have pregame for you at 5, and then Friday night back at 7 o'clock. Both of those contests at the United Center. We'll come back and discuss some things you just heard. We'll do that on the other side. Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The puck in front of the score! And all of a sudden it's 5
The Preds continue their dominance over Chicago to grab another 2 key points.
Thankful for the fans, and it's great to see them back in the building.
The 2 teams are back at it Wednesday night in Chicago, your home of Smashville.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're vibing.
We are spring cleaning at Electronic Express, and that means huge savings for you. Up to 50% off in every department. All 4K TVs, home and car audio, computers, smart home, housewares, mattresses, and more. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing. We have all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. You won't find a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. The deals are springing up at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville is now open and back with their award-winning pizza. Try out Medium Mondays with BOGO deals on all medium pizzas. Tap It Tuesday with $2 select pints and kids eat free. Wine Down Wednesdays with half-price Asiago cheese bread and bottles of wine. They've even got half-price Bloody Marys and mimosas from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. And don't forget about their daily late-night happy hour from 9 p.m. to close. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House. Pizza, beer, sports. We'll see you there, Nashville.
Tired of overpaying for out-of-date office phones? True mobility is crucial in today's work environment. Take your office phone to your house, connect to the internet, or through mobile apps, and stay connected to employees and customers seamlessly. Get auto attendant, video calls, voicemail, music on hold. An IP phone system from TechCore makes communication possible anytime, anywhere. Stop wasting time and money. Contact Jamie Wolf at TechCore today at techcore1.com or call 615-410-4550. That's 615-410-4550. IP work phones can save money, make communication easier, and protect you from ransomware. Just back up your computer through your phone. Contact Jamie Wolf at TechCore. He can show you how. Go to techcore1.com. That's techcore1.com. techcore1.com. Or call 615-410-4550.
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring extravaganza is here this weekend. 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis already guaranteed best prices. Rings, pendants, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus special financing. This event was canceled last year, so we're making it bigger than ever this year. With twice the selection and double the savings. Get sale prices on all new designer jewelry and GIA certified diamonds. This Friday through Sunday only, and only at Genesis Diamond, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit.
Genesis Diamond's first spring sale in 2 years is here this weekend, and they're holding nothing back. Save up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, all on sale. Last year's spring extravaganza was canceled, so they're doubling up this year with bigger discounts and expanded selection. Aggressive financing. Designers are here with their entire collections all on sale. Even certified diamond engagement rings are on sale, so don't miss this. Genesis store-wide spring extravaganza Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The Wednesday night getting jacked up. Smashville live at 6.
I tried a mustache and then scored right away.
Slapshot Radio at 7. The runway is so incredibly short right now. Penalty Box Radio at 8.
That's impressive. It's not like it was a weird bounce or a deflection.
The Wednesday night hockey block only on Smashville's best sports talk. ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
He's really versatile. Most of his time with the Predators in the last year and a half has been on the wing. And then because of injuries, which we've had our fair share of them, he's got moved back to center. And it seems to be a really good fit for him. And again, for us, that used to be his more natural position when he was drafted and played younger. But because he's so versatile, he got pushed over to the wing and fit in wherever the team needed him. But right now, it looks like that's the right position for Granny and the right position for our team to give us the best chance of being successful every night. But he's having a really good season. He doesn't get the most points. He probably, like all offensive players, you'd like to see them put up more goals or assists, but his value is.
There you go, David Boyle, his discussion with us. I'm Mikhail Granlund, back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Don't forget, tune in to Robbie and Rex Road, 8:45 in the morning on Predators game days. That's tomorrow morning at 8:45 for your Pick to click, your chance to get in there and pick a Predators player and to score a goal that night. If they do, you can win a prize pack brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. So be listening tomorrow morning at 8:45, your next opportunity. We just talked to Joe last hour. He picked Matt Duchene, who we're getting ready to talk about.
Yes,
and
he
of
did.
course, he did score. So good by him. And I think he continues to be in the lead. All right, let's talk about Matt Duchene.
Well, let's start with this. I think it's pretty interesting what you just heard from David Poyle when you asked Darren about Granlund, and he talked about how Granlund has really become a fit at center.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Duchene, since he's come back, has been on the wing. And before the season started, I don't know that you would have predicted that, but that is really where it's at right now. Granlund is a fixture at center. He was outstanding last night. And to Duchene's credit, he's come in and he's saying, I'll go play where you need me to play. You know, I know he was signed to be a center. I think he would prefer to play center. But his analytics, not only did he score a goal, but his analytics were phenomenal last night. Huge numbers in his favor when he was on the ice. So that's a very good sign. And I just think that's a really interesting twist that we would not have predicted before the season. Just like who would have predicted that Calle Yarncroke would be leading the team in goals right now?
No one.
Nobody.
No.
But the question will be, okay, can Duchene build off of this, right? We said yesterday, let's just start with making a play, you know? And so sure enough, who scores the first goal? It's Duchene. He makes a play. Big confidence boost. So where does it go from here? It's intriguing. It's just it's something that they've just learned to cope with, that, you know, you've kind of lowered your expectations on what you're going to get from him. But if he could catch fire, or Johansson, we've talked about this, you know, over and over and over. But if you could just get a spark for 9 games, it could make all the difference in the world.
I brought up Granlund just because, you know, the way he's playing, and 2, when you just look at overall what he's doing, it's really about what isn't he doing. I mean, he is
100%. He's doing everything.
So, and I bring that up because we know he's back on a 1-year deal. I think we all kind of felt like last offseason he was probably going to get away, that he was not going to come back. And instead, he did come back at a much reduced rate, about $2 million less than, you know, his previous contract that had expired. And, you know, the more I watch him play in this system, the more he does everything. You do wonder, are they really going to, you know, is he really going to go somewhere else in the offseason? I know that, you know, money is going to play into this, but if they really, really want him back, they will figure it out. In other words, sometimes, you know, you bring somebody back, somebody's got to go. We all know how this works. But I just, the more I watch him, I was just astounded at, you know, here's a forward, or in this case, a center, playing 23 and a half minutes last night. 23 and a half minutes and almost 9 minutes of power play and penalty kill minutes.
That's
and taking draws
time.
and blocking shots and shooting and getting assists. I mean, he is, like I said, I continue to marvel at his play behind the net. It blows me away how effective he's been and how well he is and the things that he does behind the net. But what doesn't he do? And I just wanted to hear what David Poyle would say, right? How would he talk about Granlund? Well, you just heard it. He was glowing about Granlund. So we really to believe that Granlund's going to get away this offseason, even though his contract is up? I don't know. It's starting to feel more and more and more like I'm not sure there's a scenario really where he's not in the mix in the future. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Well, I think you've hit it spot on. You just can't watch them every night and not notice him everywhere. You know, not just, you know, making some nice plays to generate goals, but, you know, screening in front of the net, boxing somebody out defensively, you know, diving to block a shot, winning a puck battle in the corner. He's just been incredible. You know, he's energizing other players. He's bringing out great things in Luke Cunnin, I think, and Calle Yarncroke. That's become a real heartbeat kind of line, those 3 guys. And once again, you go back to what did you think it was gonna look like before the season started? I don't think I would have had those three guys together as the guys that, when you need a big play or you need your most valuable guys on the ice, who are you going to? Those three guys are the answer a lot. So all that to say, Darren, I'm kind of with you. I think it just is looking like you got to try to find a way to keep him here somehow.
Well, and here's my thing on it. You brought up the money, and yes, that's always a factor and always important. But with the cap being a flat cap, I actually think that, and you look at last off season, yes, Mikhail has had a better season this year, and so that price will probably go up. But surely he recognizes it too, and so maybe you're able to get him on more of a deal that is going to be fair for him, but fair for the Predators as well, and not break the bank. Maybe you can get him locked up for another 2 years or what have you. I don't think this is a huge long-term deal. I don't think anyone's really thinking that.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, no, I'm not.
No.
You guys know how I feel about that.
Sure.
I just.
But if you get him back for 2 years at, like, if you did 2 years, 8 million, so 4 per year.
I was going to say 4 to 4.5 is probably what his agent would put. I mean, look, if we're sitting here, reeling off all these stats, what do you think his agent's going to be doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Boyle?
He's looking at the comparables, all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, his agent is going to lay it all out there, and it's going to, yes, within reason, because I do think, without knowing for sure, and unfortunately we don't have any access to the room. We don't get to talk to them at all, so we don't have any idea. But we did last season. It feels like, and there's a reason why he's back here. Clearly, he likes being here, right? I mean, there is something to him. I'm not willing to go out and say, hey, this is their home, right? The Granlunds, when they leave the arena, they talk, this is their home. But it does feel like they want to be here. So that plays a part into what you're saying. But look, it's still a business, and his agent is paid to get him the most money. And if it's within reason, and it's, a deal like you said, like a 2-year deal, and it's reasonable, I don't see any scenario where really he's not in the mix. Now, like I said, it may come at a cost for somebody else to bring him back. But right now, I mean, you tell me, you guys tell me, today, they're through 47 games. Who's the MVP of this team right now? Today, if you had to pick one. And right now,
question.
Well, okay, if you take Saros out of the mix, Saros is the MVP.
Take the goalie out. Thank you. That's where I was going. Take the goalie out. Take 74 out. Who is the MVP of the team right now today?
It's one of two guys. It's either Roman Josi or Mikhail Granlund, I think.
And it's probably Granlund just because Roman Josi missed time, right?
Right.
I think you could make that argument. Yeah.
I mean,
Granlund
I think
missed a
if
couple
you're
games, but yeah, I think he's been such a steadying force to get him through the tough times and overcome. With Johansson and Duchesne spending a lot of time injured, and then when they played, they haven't played great. Him filling that gap at center, I think, has been invaluable. So yeah, and the other thing is you kind of expect Yossi to be really good. So in the realm of sometimes the MVP gets votes because it's a little bit unexpected. Like that's why Mike Trout doesn't win the MVP every year.
Yeah.
Even though he might be the best player every year. I think that's why you might vote for Granlund.
And I don't think you're going to get any pushback. That's the point. That you're not going to get any pushback. And if that's your answer, really, you're not bringing back the MVP of your team next year?
Yeah.
Unless his agent is just crazy, unless they just come back with, hey, we need 7.5 a year. I mean, I get it. Like everybody would get it. But I don't see that. I mean, I think, like I said, if everything is within reason, I just see no scenario where he's not going to be back.
Well, and think about it too. You are guaranteed to lose a player. We all know that. You're going to lose a player, and for this team, most likely, I think it'll be a forward. So most likely somebody, whether it's Yarncroke because his contract is favorable, Sissons is another one. Who knows? But you're going to lose a player. So you got to figure that out. Tomasino is on the way, but Howle's going to be gone. I don't see a scenario where he's back. Cousins still has a
What's
year
crazy
left.
is he's playing really well too.
He is. He is.
Really, do you know he won 11? He won 11 of 12 draws last night.
Yeah, he was excellent last night. I think he deserves a lot of credit because he got off to a slow start and he was scuffling there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cousins was in that same boat, and those two guys have sort of been in the same boat, right? Hall and Cousins, they've been together. They've gone through some dry spells, but I do think as the stakes have risen,
Mm-hmm.
I think their game has risen.
And his
right?
penalty kill minutes.
The
have been
penalty kill,
huge.
very important.
Huge.
Yeah, Hall is a threat. Not only is he a sound penalty killer, but he's a guy that the other team has to say, you got to watch him, right? Because he can sneak out on you and create a shorthanded chance.
You can. Chase, why don't you tell us about some bets?
I can do that. And not Mookie bets, but we love Mookie bets. So, but let me talk about BetMGM.
Can you bet on bets?
You can. You can. In fact, you should pay attention to this because of what Mookie Betts does. Baseball players, they may not get style points for home runs, but baseball bettors do. New BetMGM customers can turn $1 into 100 when someone goes yard during a game. Sign up for the BetMGM app using the code 1025game100, and if you place a $1 moneyline wager on the Braves or the Yankees, you'll get $100 if either team hits a home run. And after the baseball has left the park, there's no reason for you to leave your seat. Discover BetMGM's innovative parlay selection builders, daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and more. Download the app or go to betmgm.com. Use that code 1025game100 to win $100 in free bets when you bet on the Braves or the Yankees and either team hits a home run. Swing for the fences with BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. New customer offer, paid in free bets. You must be 21 years or older, must be in Tennessee. Visit betmgm.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
It's the 1K payday. Oh my God. Tune in every weekday for your keyword at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and 3 p.m. for your chance to win $1,000 cash.
This is awesome, man. Listen to you guys. Love you guys.
Then simply head to thegamenashville.com to enter the keyword. It's the 1K payday
on ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Winds will be gradually picking up today, so will the cloud cover. It's going to thicken up as we hit the afternoon. High temperature 75 degrees before storms move in tonight, cooler for Wednesday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's soccer season in Tennessee. You want goals?
He takes it inside, outside, right foot, great finish! What a goal!
You want saves?
Lifted high, into the hands of Joe Willis. He makes the catch.
You want big drama?
Hooked in and headed in! Delirium! It's Yonder Cadiz!
Nashville SC are back home this Saturday, April 24th versus CF Montreal. The action kicks off at 1 p.m. Tickets on sale now at NashvilleSC.com. Get in for the 2021 season.
How'd you like that?
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring extravaganza is here this weekend. 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis already guaranteed best prices. Rings, pendants, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus special financing. This event was canceled last year, so we're making it bigger than ever this year. With twice the selection and double the savings. Get sale prices on all new designer jewelry and GIA certified diamonds this Friday through Sunday only. And only at Genesis Diamond. Green Hills and Cool Springs. Unapproved credit.
Genesis Diamond's first spring sale in 2 years is here this weekend, and they're holding nothing back. Save up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, all on sale. Last year's spring extravaganza was canceled, so they're doubling up this year with bigger discounts and expanded selection. Aggressive financing. Designers are here with their entire collections all on sale. Even certified diamond engagement rings are on sale, so don't miss this. Genesis store-wide spring extravaganza Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
If you have a VA loan, you need to discover my new friends at Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto is changing everything about home loans here. Hey, it's Willie Daunic. Veterans who refinance their VA loan with Loan Pronto are shocked at how great the rates are and how much equity they have in their homes. Did you know that with a VA loan, you can take out as much as 90% of your home's value? That means you can get $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 cash out. Use that money to pay off credit cards, consolidate other loans, or start that home improvement project. Or even if you don't need cash out, you should call Loan Pronto and ask about their VA streamlined loans that require no income documentation, no appraisal, and no cash due at closing. And yes, you can still get VA loans in the twos. Call Loan Pronto now. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com. 499-5780.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not available on all loans.
Robbie Stanley.
I feel like this could be the start of something special.
Joe Rexrode.
I think it means that we've got, like, the toilet bowl competition it's very strong.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Dan Shanka from Our Lads will kick off the third hour. That's coming up here shortly. Guys, it looks like we've been talking about how downtown is starting to feel and look a lot more like normal times. It's going to look even more normal July 4th. Have you guys seen the big announcement today?
I have heard.
July 4th. It's back. It's
back.
Huh? Brad Paisley is going to headline the concert. And, Butch Spearden today said that it's going to be bigger and better than it's ever been. They said it'll be the biggest fireworks show in Nashville history.
That's cool.
So there you go.
Well,
by the way, in 2019, they said there were almost 350,000 people downtown in 2019.
Wow.
Man,
I don't think I was one of them.
I was not either.
I'm going to be honest. I don't remember 2019.
Wait a minute. What does that mean?
This is the thing, don't you think? Is we have sort of a lost year where you remember things, but there's kind of okay, what class is this guy? Like there's all these, like you got your eligibility back in college, and is he a sophomore? Is he a sophomore in his second year or is he a freshman?
I think Willie missed that one. I don't think that's where Chase was going.
No, I know what you're saying, Chase, but I have don't you guys think that it's also hard to remember exactly what year was what?
Yeah, sure.
Because of the skipped year.
I think
it's just something on top of everything else.
I know I did something, but I think I could have been out of town. I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure I was having a good time, but there's a lot of times where it's, from one year to the next, I don't remember like what I did for a birthday or a trip. It's just they run together.
Yeah, now that you say that, I think that was when we went to Denver, I think, and went to a couple Rockies games. That was that was over the 4th. So we were out of town. Yeah, we were out of town. We were in Denver. That's right, because we did it, or actually we may have came back on the 4th, but we did not go downtown. Imagine that. But yeah, they said it's going to be bigger than ever this year. So go get those shots.
I was preparing.
So you can go full throttle.
I was preparing to join you guys. That was around that time.
That is very true.
So that adds to the blur.
It's good.
that definitely adds to the blur for me.
Go get your shots, Chase.
I am going today actually to get number one.
You got number one today. All right.
Going to get number one.
Oh, I thought you guys went to Cincinnati this weekend to get shots.
Different kind of shots.
Oh, that's
different kind of shots. Okay.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, you can get them all. Get them all.
Yeah.
Just include the vaccine as one of the shots. Then you
can we do both? I don't like needles.
I don't
can
like
we
needles,
do both?
Yeah. Like you like tell the nurse, you give me a shot in this arm and I'll take this shot right here.
It's a good play. Double play. 4-6-3.
Did I see where there is a comedy tour coming through Bridgestone Arena this month, at the end of this month? Is that
Yes.
Did I see that right?
Yes, you
that
did.
would be the first non-hockey. Am I making this up, or would that be true? That would be the
No, you're
first
talking about
non-hockey event
in
since
real life.
shutdown?
In real life comedy tour is what you're talking about. Mike Epps, Mark Curry, DC Young Fly, Carlos Miller, and Country Wayne.
So that's the first one back, right? Non-hockey related?
This Saturday.
Is it this Saturday?
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was the follow. It was wait a minute. Is this Saturday? No, I thought it was the one at the end of the month.
It's April 24th.
Okay. Wow. All right. It's starting to feel better. Last night, felt normal. Fireworks. There we go. I guess David Kells is back.
David Kells,
yes,
he
is back.
I'm telling you, he is.
Saw him last night
is awesome.
patrolling.
He is gonna fill up that place soon. Gonna fill out that schedule. I like it. All right, we'll come back. Dan Shanka to start the third hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase. That's next.
You want to have a 1K payday? Head to thegamenashville.com and enter this keyword, money. You'll instantly qualify for $1,000 in this nationwide contest. Enter the keyword, money, at thegamenashville.com. The 1K payday. Brought to you in part by Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN, 1025 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
electronicexpress.com. We make it happen.
Ryan Porth here for TwinSpire Sportsbook, which I'm excited to announce is now live in Tennessee, and they're coming out of the starting gates with their best offer yet for new players with 1 week of risk-free bets up to $1,000. I know I can't wait to take advantage of this, and you want to as well. Just download the TwinSpires app using promo code FREE1000 to get started. Void where prohibited. Must be 21 or older and physically present in Tennessee. See full terms and conditions at twinspires.com. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, Smashville, it's Robbie Stanley, and I want to tell you about my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They're locally owned and operated, and right now they're running a great tune-up special for one system for only $55. You heard that right? A great tune-up special for only $55. One of the many ways to save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and right now you can get 6 months, no interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offering premium service without the premium price. Do yourself a favor and check them out at springhillac.com, your proud partner of Smashville Live.
If you've been thinking about remodeling your home's kitchen or bath, contact the countertop experts at Smoky Mountain Tops. Willie Daunic here, and we installed Smoky Mountain Top surfacing in our kitchen years ago. It's remained durable and super easy to clean up. Smoky Mountain Tops is proud to offer the new prestigious Vidara quartz for your kitchen or bath countertops. Vidara surfaces are ideal for use in almost any interior application. Check out the stunning new Vidara quartz shown at Smoky Mountain Top Studio. Contact the pros at Smoky Mountain Tops. Quality, service, and dedication. Visit SmokyMountainTops.com.
Sports Talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUC HD2 Laverne, online at thegaynashville.com. We are
ESPN
1025 The Game. Live from the Wholesale Link Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
1025 The Game.
Third hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase on this gorgeous Tuesday here in Middle Tennessee. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe with you. We're going to talk a little NFL draft. Thursday will be 1 week out. Can't think of a better guy to do it with as I hold in my hand, gentlemen, our lads scouting service, the 2021 draft guide. It is in my hand and it feels good. Dan Shanka has been at it for a long time, and he is the man responsible for that thing in my hand. Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Darren. Yeah, it's
it's what do you say? A work of love, or a passion that we've had over the years, and so any of the little mistakes you see in their mind too. So the good, but and I guess that's part of publishing a book.
We were talking about this yesterday, Dan. When Trevor Lawrence is out doing community work in Jacksonville, why don't the Jags just go on and announce their pick and sign him up and say, the Jets, you're on the clock, and my guess is, Zach Wilson will be spotted in the Big Apple and Times Square as well, and they can go on and announce that they're taking him, and we can sit here and try to figure out who San Francisco is going to take at 3.
Yeah, no, that's as you recall, Darren, several years ago, that's what they used to do. The hay's in the barn. We know who the number 1 pick's going to be, so we're going to go ahead and start contract negotiations and get him all signed up. And the way it looks, Zach Wilson is going to the Jets, so that could be the next contract. But I don't know why they're hesitating. Maybe they'll start a couple days before the draft or something. Say, hey, this is going to be our guy.
Yeah, in fact, the example that came to mind was Mario Williams. The Texans did that with him, right? Didn't they just go on and say, hey, we're taking Mario Williams and we've got him under contract, and that's that?
Yep, they certainly did, Darren. So, but there's been other quarterbacks that have been negotiating prior to that first pick also. And but hey, we'll see what Jackson. Hey, my wife knew 2 years ago he was going to the number 1 team, whoever that was going to be, and it looked like it was going to be Jacksonville for a long time. So they could have started those negotiations, I guess, when his Clemson career was over.
So San Francisco has traded up, and so they have to know, right, who they're taking at 3. But yet it's amazing how it seems like I agree with what your assessment. Everybody kind of seems to be on the same page of how 1 and 2 is going to go, but doesn't seem like it is all over the place at number 3. But they have to know, right? They gave up a lot to get to that spot. So who do you think they're taking at 3? Who was the guy that they traded for? Who do they want?
Well, I think that what they did, Darren, is they jumped up there to say that we know who those other 2 quarterbacks are going to be. We want to make sure we want our guy. And I think their guy is Mac Jones, and I don't want to sound like I'm singing to the choir, but if you read our report, he's a perfect fit for what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. And but that being said, the accuracy and all that Mac Jones has, he doesn't have the wheels, and that if he's going to pull the ball down, he won't be running the RPO. But if they have Justin Fields, they might run RPO, or if they have Trey Lance, they might run RPO, because those 2 guys can really scoot. But we all know the NFL game is built on a quarterback throwing the ball, and Mac Jones does it better than the other 2. And although I tell you, I've seen all the tapes and graded all the tapes on Justin Fields, and I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and he is a terrific quarterback. And if they took him at 3, I wouldn't have a holler, but it would be kind of going against a little bit, of what Kyle Shanahan wants to do and what he has done in the past wherever he's been. And, I think that Mac Jones fits their profile, because as we all know, that teams look for their profile players at a lot of positions, whether it's offensive line, running backs in your zone blocking scheme, or a gap scheme, or quarterbacks. And so I think that Mac Jones fits their prototype.
Looking at your guide, you guys have Rashad Bateman going to the Titans at 22, the wide receiver from Minnesota. Why do you like him, and why do you think that would be a good fit?
Well, being right here in Big Ten territory, I've seen Bateman live, and I've seen him over his career. And last year or 2 years ago, when they had Tyler Johnson there, Johnson was kind of their guy. He ended up going, I think it was in the 6th round to Tampa, and got some playing time. He did make some nice catches, but boy, every time Bateman got on the field, man, you see this receiver that would just spear the ball out of it. I mean, if it was, and believe me, Minnesota does not have a good passing quarterback, which was kind of good when you evaluate film because you can see him catch, you can see Bateman catch all these bad throws that the quarterbacks were throwing. I mean, he could spear that ball right out of the air and then get on and keep on running. And he's really a good vertical receiver. They really major a lot in the slant and the dig routes and things. He's a tough kid. He'll go over the middle. He's a good blocker. His head coach was an excellent college receiver, PJ Fleck. And so I think that he got the best of all Fleck's knowledge, and he is going to be going in that, you know, whether it's he's going to be taken by the Titans or whether he's going to be taken by Baltimore, I think he's going to go in that later first round, the bottom of the bottom third of the first round.
A guy that we've talked about on this show, just because we're in SEC country, and it worked out the last time they took a wide receiver from Ole Miss. A.J. Brown's been pretty good to the Titans. So Elijah Moore gets a lot of discussion on this show, and he's another guy that I've seen kind of all over the place when you think about, you know, looking at these draft boards. You guys have him more closer to kind of the middle of the second round. Why? And I've seen him in the first round on a lot of boards, middle of the first round, late first round, beginning of the second round. You guys have him, I think, at 42 to the Giants. Well, tell us a little bit about Elijah Moore, and why do you think he's more of a kind of a mid-second round guy?
Well, I'll tell you, Darren, as a receiver now, we've got him, I think, our 7th receiver overall. But, yeah, as a player, you're right, the 42nd spot. But I think the reason we got him, well, the reason I know we got him kind of in that group, because there's a bunch of of that size of wide receiver in that bunch with Tony, for instance, from Florida. You got Rondale Moore from Purdue. They're kind of bunched up there. Dwayne Eskridge is a little bit later. They're all kind of that guy that's around 5'9", 185, can really run and explosive. But Elijah Moore, if he went late in the first, because our grade on him is eight something in the high eights, and which means, you know, he's a second round guy. But if, you know, he's close enough that if he went in the late first, it wouldn't shock us. So late first would be a 9-1 or somewhere 905, somewhere in there. And so he's close enough to be, you know, in that group. It's just a matter of the type of receiver that you want. If you want a slot receiver that's really explosive, he's not really an outside guy, but he's more of an inside slot receiver that you could put, you know, on the outside once in a while. But he's going to make his money working the inside zone between the hash marks and crossing routes and tunnel screens, things like getting his hands on the ball, run after catch, because he is an explosive guy. So I think that's why we kind of favor the little bigger receivers, but there's so many of these that size, we've kind of got them bunched together there toward the top of the second.
Speaking with Dan Shanka, Our Lad Scouting Service. Speaking of the second round, you have the Titans taking Davion Nixon, the big defensive tackle from Iowa. Tell us a little bit about him, and why do you see that as a possible fit?
Well, he's a multiple alignment type defender up front. He can play He can play a 3 technique. He can play in the under position. He could move out and play at defensive end if he had to. And I think it's all ahead of him. He is an ascending guy that kind of exploded this year. He's the Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year. And he rotated a year ago, and then this year he got to be the guy, and he did a lot of good things. He's a inside chaos pressure type player. You can put him at the nose if you had to, and you know, just anymore the defenses are they mix them up a lot and have guys align different spots, and And so he could, move out to quote the defensive tackle position for the Titans where Simmons is playing. He could go defensive end where, Autry is right now. Mack is, I think, really the only tight end on the roster. I'm sorry, nose tackle on the roster. And so I think that he would be an addition. And whether he's the guy or they grab somebody else, and this isn't a very deep defensive line draft. So I think that those guys like Nixon are going to go up there a little bit earlier, and like Barmore, he's probably going to go in the first, and then you got Nixon in there, and so guys, and we like Wilson from Florida State, although he was kind of hot and cold this year, but 2 years ago he was a real man inside, and so I think that there's not a lot of those guys. So Nixon is probably going to be available there in the second round.
We're talking to Dan Shanka of Our Lads Scouting. So if you're a team looking for a linebacker that could be versatile, could play inside, could play outside, depending on the scheme that the team runs, but you're looking for somebody more in the middle rounds. So either late day 2 or early day 3, who are some that come to mind for you that you'd be interested in, and as maybe being a project, but being somebody you could get in those middle rounds?
Well, I tell you, a guy that's not getting a lot of play, but I really like him. And certainly on the inside, like when you line up in a 4-2, if you're in the running situations, I mean, he's going to hammer you inside. But that's Derek Barnes from Purdue. I really like that guy. He played on the outside at Purdue a couple years ago, and they moved him some inside this year, and they move him around. Now, he hasn't got a ton of experience in coverage, okay? That's kind of the sticky wicket, but he is a terrific football player and will contribute, in all the special teams. And if you want to stick him in on rundowns, if he's going to be that guy that you want blitzing off the edge, because he has absolutely no fear. I mean, he really brings it, and like him a lot as a player. I think Buddy Johnson is a later guy from Texas A&M who's a really good leader, runs in the high 4.5s, sideline to sideline player that's not bad in coverage, and he's ascending there, because sometimes these guys aren't asked to do a lot coverage-wise. You don't really know. And, you see some guys in the Senior Bowl, and that's the first time that, you really got to see him sometimes in coverage. And, anyway, Johnson is another one.
Dan, a guy I'm curious about is, he's not a quarterback that's getting a lot of talk, but Sam Ehlinger out of Texas had an up and down career, I guess you could say. But what do you see in him? Is there anything at the next level, or is he just is what he is?
He is what he is. No, we got him as a free or a late, like 7th round priority free agent guy. He's just, he was really a good college quarterback. There's no question about that. But I think when you talk about the NFL in regards to accuracy, ball placement, velocity, all that, I mean, if you want him on your team as a third quarterback, take snaps to get you out of a game or to end in a game, he's that kind of guy. But I just don't ever see him even being a good backup in the NFL. He's kind of what he is.
Okay, so who in your mind would be somebody that, could potentially be developed into a backup, not necessarily a starter?
Well, a guy that I really like, and we're probably by ourselves on that one, which I don't mind because we've been down that road before. But Peyton Ramsey from Northwestern, he played at Indiana. He's around 6'2". He's about 220, somewhere in there. Runs really well. He can pull the ball down. He doesn't run well in compared to like Fields and Lance, but he's a NFL quarterback kind of runner. He can pull that ball down when he has to. But the thing that I look at is the good decisions, and the ability to make the right decisions and the quick synapse from their brain to, hey, they see that guy open, they hit it right now. And he isn't quite as talented as some of those early guys, but I think that, Peyton Ramsey is that kind of guy that could develop as a backup. His dad's a former high school coach and everything. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio. I mean, he's a football guy. Like him, like Ian Book from Notre Dame, and kind of that same role. Being, you can just he'll never probably be a starter, but he can get you out of a game and won't make mistakes. And he can scramble with the ball. I mean, when he has to pull the ball down, he can scramble and do that. But I think that those are guys, and a guy that I like too. But man, alive, he's so inconsistent. So I had to put him down there, a little bit later. But he when you see him throw the ball, if you saw him throw the ball in the second half of a lot of the Tulsa games, Zach Smith is that guy. But boy, does he need. His consistency is off, but he's got the big time tools.
Now I jumped around on myself, so I apologize for that. But back to
you jumped around on yourself.
I did, yeah. I meant to ask about these two guys, and I went into quarterbacks. I know. Two linebackers in particular: Chaz Surratt out of North Carolina, Dylan Moses out of Alabama. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Surratt, obviously he's probably going to go in the second round. Former quarterback that made a nice adjustment, understands what's happening in the secondary because he was a former quarterback before they got Howell in there, and then they moved him over a couple of years ago. But Surratt's a terrific athlete, and he got better and better. Every game you could see him getting better. So, we see him in that second, third round area, and can cover. He's a very good athlete, can really run. He can match up on people. If he has to walk out on a tight end or a slot guy, that's a good matchup that would, not necessarily favor the defense, but at least you've got the guy covered. And Dylan Moses, and as long as he stays healthy, Moses he's not quite as good in coverage as Surratt. But he's a really good run player. Of course, he had the ACL a year ago, and he just kind of knocked off the rust this year. And, we see him in the middle rounds.
And then last one for me, Gregory Rousseau is somebody that I know in the early mocks some people had going to the Titans. Obviously, that's changed with what they did in the offseason with free agency. But what do you think about Gregory Rousseau? Is he still kind of a first-round guy, or do you see him maybe dipping down into another round?
Yeah, well, I guess if he went in the first round, it wouldn't shock me because he does have first-round talent. Did not play this year at Miami, as you know, and they gave a guy like Jalen Phillips a chance to show what he could do after he transferred in from UCLA. And but Rousseau is still in that late first-round area, early second round, because, boy, you see the tape on him when he played a year ago. He was terrific. He was a jackrabbit start kind of guy, get up the field, be disruptive. He kind of looks like a giant spider in there, and he's got those long arms and legs, gets his hands up, and really hungry to play. And I think that it wouldn't shock me if he goes in the late first round, but he's not going to get out of the, probably mid-second.
Talking to Dan Shanka from the R-Lad Scouting Service. And Dan, just a question on a local guy that we saw here quite a bit at Vanderbilt. And I'm curious, too, just how you try to evaluate a guy like this. Dayo Odengbo, who played on a defense that was, really struggling. They obviously didn't win a game. What's your grade on him, and how unique is it when you're trying to evaluate a guy that is not surrounded by a lot of talent?
Well, the other thing is that injury. I think that's what, that's the thing that probably knocks him down a little bit, but he was a high effort guy, try hard player, smart guy, understands what his role is. You can count on him because of his consistency. And then, unfortunately, he got injured, and you always hate to see that on guys. But, I think that depending on how he did on his recheck physical up in Indianapolis, I think that he's probably going to go in those middle round area somewhere, we've got him, I think, at the top. I want to say the top of the fourth round. And that's probably the fit for him. He does everything well, but he's got decent length. He's like 6'5" and change, about 280. He ran pretty good in the 4.8s, but we didn't get anything this spring, obviously, because he was injured. But I think the thing that you like about him is he can do, he can play on any defensive front, the 3-4 he could be, and that's probably ultimately what he'll be at anchor 5 technique. I wouldn't say he's an explosive pass rusher. He did a lot of good things, pressuring the quarterback and whatnot. But I think he's more of that kind of guy, that anchor in the, in a 3-4-5 technique guy.
And the last thing for you, Dan, you were talking about some of the unique, different styles of wide receiver that's out there. We had a great discussion last week about how, the position seems to be taught better. You have more refined players coming out of college. Teams are throwing it more. They're maybe emphasizing the route running a lot better than they did, maybe the generation before. Do you think it's easier to grab a wide receiver? I think I asked you this about tackles last week, but do you think it's more of a thing where a John Robinson could find an A.J. Brown in the second round like he did? Is it a little easier to do that these days than it was, say, 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, because, all these passing camps that you see all over things, the guys have just developed as receivers. And then a lot of those guys that played basketball say they're really a good guard. Maybe they're a 6'4" guard or a 6'4" forward, and they didn't have, the skills you look for in basketball. They say, well, heck with this, I'll just go ahead and go to football. And because I'm a good athlete, I can jump, I can pluck that ball. And so there's more for the teams to go after, more players out there that are not only outstanding athletes, but understand the game and know how to box out. All these passing camps, like Texas has had them for years, but they're all over the country now. And the high school kids in the summertime, that's what they do. And then the receivers are working with their quarterbacks that are in college all summer, and they're just throwing the heck out of the ball. And, Malcolm Gladwell, the great writer, he said, 10,000 hours, baby. And these receivers, that's what they got, 10,000 hours. And that's why they're so good.
Dan, we love it. We appreciate it as always. We're getting a little bit closer. Thanks for the visit.
You betcha. Anytime, guys. Great being with you as always.
All right. That is Dan Shanka, Our Lad Scouting Service. It's fantastic draft
So
guide.
fired up.
Fantastic.
Good stuff. This
That
is his
does not
time.
I know.
It's time to shine.
And boy, he does it every year. He brings it. All right. I'm going to talk to you about my friends over at Cool Springs MD. They bring it every day, too. They've been helping a lot of you in our listening area. They've been around in Middle Tennessee since 2007. They've certainly been helping me over the years become healthier and happier. They've been improving my quality of life. I hope you want that like I do. They would love to help you with your immune system or your energy levels or your cognitive functions, so much more. They do a lot under one roof. Dr. Jeffrey Lodge is the board-certified physician. His wife, Daphne, is the registered nurse, and their experienced staff can help you in so many areas. They've got a state-of-the-art facility out there in Cool Springs at 1642 Westgate Circle, and maybe you've tacked on some unwanted pounds, right? We've all gone through that as adults. Well, they've got programs and products and people that can get you going back in the right direction where you can shed those unwanted pounds. Rejuvenation, appearance should always be important, especially as we all get older and we age. It gets harder, but you can talk to them about PRP, hair removal, Botox, and hormone therapy, another category that maybe you've been feeling off lately. You haven't been feeling yourself. You haven't had any drive or any energy, or just you feel off and you're wondering what's going on, or maybe you experienced some mood swings. Well, get your levels checked. You never know if they have dipped or they have dipped to an all-time low. That can affect you in some or all of these categories, and you can discuss with them BHRT, testosterone, estrogen. They do it all under one roof. If you need to schedule a consultation or an appointment, dial this number, 615-283-7291. That's 283-7291. Or you can always learn everything about them by going to their website, CoolSpringsMD.com.
The puck in front of the score! It's 5-2.
The Preds continue their dominance over Chicago to grab another 2 key points.
Thankful for the fans, and it's great to see them back in the building.
The two teams are back at it Wednesday night in Chicago, your home of
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We're vibing.
Pro Golf is back in Nashville. Mark your calendar for the Simmons Bank Open May 6th through the 9th. You can see the next wave of PGA Tour stars, plus there'll be fun music events and amazing food. Be a volunteer and get a behind-the-scenes look at the daily operation of a PGA Tour event. To volunteer or to purchase tickets, go to SimmonsBankOpen.com. All military veterans, first responders, and healthcare workers will be admitted free. The Simmons Bank Open helps raise funds for the Snedeker Foundation. Go to SimmonsBankOpen.com for tickets and event information.
One of the things I love most about betting on basketball is always finding new player props or game props I like. Hey, everybody, Joe Rexroad here to let you know. This is one of many things that is so cool about the FanDuel Sportsbook. You can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score a bigger payout. This is the same game parlay bet. You can only find the same game parlay bet at FanDuel Sportsbook. If you haven't tried FanDuel Sportsbook, new users also get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Place a bet. If you lose, you get up to $1,000 back in site credit. And new and existing users get up to $25 back in site credit if your parlay falls one leg short. This is same game parlay insurance, and yes, that's every day. That's part of why FanDuel Sportsbook is the best. It's easy. The withdrawals are fast. The odds boosts and special promotions are fantastic, and you should get in on this. So download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Try a same game parlay. Use promo code Joe102 at sign up. That is promo code Joe102. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $25. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fran into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
ESPN's Teron Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
When I say options, I'm talking about drafting a player that could become good, but isn't right now.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. That dude's a player.
Only on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville. This is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Thank you, David. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase on this gorgeous Tuesday afternoon. I actually saw his Miracle Field this weekend. We were playing a tournament at McKnight Park. Yeah. In Murfreesboro, which is a really nice little complex. It's the first time we've ever played there, and his Miracle Field is right there, part of that complex. And they were there, you know, little kids. I mean, I guess that's what, you know, it's been a while now. I guess that's what probably medics look like at 4. They look like they were about 2 out there. And then, I mean, throughout the course, all day Saturday, they were constantly running events on his Miracle Field. So that was the first time I'd actually seen it. So have you guys seen David Price's Miracle Field before?
I have not.
I've seen it. It looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of good things for you know, underprivileged kids and everything. So it's a really awesome gesture by his foundation. So that was the first time I got a chance to see it. Well, they were blasting the music. Those kids were having fun. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the field's designed so that kids that say might be in a wheelchair or you know,
Correct.
maybe have other physical disabilities can play easier. You know, the surface is set up so that they can play a game. They can smoothly.
I think it's turf.
It's turf, so they can smoothly, you know, get across and things like that. So it's a great idea behind it. It's fantastic. I've seen some videos of, you know, kids participating. They love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, they were certainly having a good time on Saturday. All right, it's time to text that keyword in. Yep, it's time for you to enter a chance to win that Dos Equis prize pack, which includes a case of beer, nut and dessert nut from Nothing Bundt Cakes, T-Mobile prize pack, and food provided by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. Just keep in mind, you must be 21 years of age or older to enter. And so, you know, we've teamed up with T-Mobile, and it's time to give away a hockey home gating party. Text in the word puck. Text in the word puck to 615-737-1025. 737-1025. Text in the word puck. That's our text line driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. So good luck with that. Keep doing what you've been doing when it comes to this. Participation has been through the roof, and we appreciate it. And we appreciate you listening. All right, what did you guys make of the always energetic Dan Chanka?
Well,
he's always energetic. Hey, can we interject this, Chase? I just saw what you texted, and I had gotten a little hint of this last night, but this is newsworthy, I think, just to drop in on the Predators, that Ellie Tolvanen is now considered day-to-day, as well as Brad Richardson. So that would indicate those guys are a little bit closer.
John Hines putting that out, speaking to the media.
John Hines saying that before they hopped the plane. That means, I think, probably that it's reasonable to say that those guys are on the plane.
Yeah.
Or else, they don't take those guys unless there's a chance
they're
day to day.
Sure.
So I don't know about tomorrow, but Tolvanen in particular, we know since he's been out, they don't have a single power play goal. They need him badly. Now Richardson, they've filled his role pretty well with the Herd, right? So Richardson will have to fight his way in there. I don't know if he's automatic anytime soon to get in.
Well, you tell me who's coming out.
Exactly. I mean, on the bottom six, you're pretty packed right now. Now things could change, and it's nice to have a veteran like that ready to go because he plays that style. But you're not messing with those guys right now.
Nope.
But Tolvanen, you make room for him. That's for sure. So that's a good sign.
Right. But that's another thing. Somebody's got to come out. Who's the odd man out?
It's going to be. It's going to be. That's who it is.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be.
What number are they?
Their number.
Yep. A good thing. It's a good problem, right? It's not an easy thing to tell that person he's coming out, but I think honestly, I think it's pretty clear who would come out. If you ask me.
Oh, it's pretty clear.
It's pretty clear.
Okay.
For Tolvanen, for the role he plays.
No, I mean, I understand he's going in when he's but I mean, who's coming? You think it's pretty clear who's coming out?
Yeah.
Rocco?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not that it's easy to take him out, not that he's played bad, but I think he's just with the role that he plays, I think he's the odd man out.
I would like to petition Gary Bettman to allow the fifth line to be created. So I think we should do that.
But keep this in mind. They play tomorrow. I don't know if Tolvanen will be in there tomorrow. Somebody could get banged up tomorrow. So, nobody's out until they're out. You know what I mean? It's like, so you just got to keep playing as long as they call your number and, do the job. Compete to stay in. And I think all those guys have done that. It's not an easy decision, whoever they decide to rotate out.
So to your original question, Darren, on the draft and Dan Chanka, the Bateman pick is interesting to me at 22. Because now, we've seen this, and you see this all the time with mock drafts and depending on what happens in free agency. But, watching the evolution of the Titans mock, it started with edge rusher. And so you had Rousseau was one. Jalen Phillips was one. And then it kind of went into corner, after the moves that they made there. And J.C. Horn, his name was mentioned. Now we're seeing receiver. Now we're seeing a lot of the mocks and a lot of people thinking that they're going to go receiver. And whether it's, Elijah Moore jumping up, I've seen Kadarius Toney's name, and then Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota, as who Dan was just talking about, is being that potential pick there at 22 or late in the first round, whenever the Titans pick, if they decide to move back. I continue to say with a lot of these, and I'm not high on Kadarius Toney, but I kind of feel like with a lot of these and a lot of these position groups that the Titans need, it's going to be hard to screw this up. I just think there's a lot of talent here. They're not all going to hit, but Bateman would be a fine choice. I've said yesterday and have been saying that I'm a big fan of Elijah Moore, and so I was glad that you brought him up as well. But even if they went Terrace Marshall out of LSU, if he's there, I don't think that's a bad pick. But Tehran's brought up Dwayne Eskridge as well, so I feel like that they can get it right if they decide to take a receiver in the first round.
Let me ask you guys about Elijah Moore. I think that's a great example of what I've been sort of centering in on the last few times we've interviewed some of our draft experts who have different points of view, like Trent Dilfer and Tim last week, and then Dan this week. This is the way I look at it. I'm not sure I would take he talked about Elijah Moore as being sort of a borderline second round grade, right? The way Dan Shanka does it, he's got him, 42nd, something like that. But he said, I could see somebody taking him in the first round. But if it's me, and I'm hearing all these stories about how refined the wide receiver position is, it's pretty deep this year. So why would you take a guy with a second round grade in the first round? If you have a second round grade, right? I mean, the Titans might have a first round grade on Elijah Moore. But
well,
I would think you would. I would think you would wait
wide receiver list,
and not draft, not reach for a receiver if you believe that the draft is deep. And you, so I don't know. That's the way I look at it. I find that intriguing that Elijah Moore might be a second round grade, but somebody might draft him in the first round. I would think you'd go the opposite with receiver.
Well, he said actually in his wide receiver rankings, he had Elijah Moore. You know, he said that's why he said what did he say? He had him 7th.
Mm-hmm.
He said he could see somebody taking him in the. He wouldn't be surprised if somebody took him in the first round.
Right.
Well, and like I just pull, while we're having this conversation, I mean Ryan Wilson, who we had on I think a few weeks ago, doesn't have them taking in the first round. He has the Titans still going edge with Carlos Basham. And then if you go down into the second round, the Titans are supposed to have the 53rd overall pick. That's where he addresses wide receiver with Rondell Moore, which is another one that I wouldn't hate. So to your point, Willie, I think you're right. That you could see the receiver and getting a good receiver like they did with AJ Brown in the second round and even beyond that. I mean, I think you're going to see some going in even into the third.
Who's going to kick for them this year?
That's a solid question there, D-Mac.
Does anybody know?
I brought it up a few times with our draft experts.
Anybody know who's going to kick for them?
Are you suggesting they should draft a kicker?
No, I'm not. I don't know.
Because I would never do that. I would never draft a kicker.
You mean
no
matter what?
No matter what.
It worked well for the Bucks.
Not really.
No, it didn't.
I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, no.
The only team.
Saying. Like,
I'm trying to think.
Don't...
Let's see. The Raiders, obviously, still too high. What round did Blankenship go to the Colts?
He was undrafted.
Was he undrafted?
He was.
Really?
I was very disappointed that the Titans didn't sign him.
He went undrafted. I thought he was a late round pick.
Mm-mm.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess that just tells you right there. I mean, to Willie's point, I mean, I probably don't waste a draft pick on a kicker.
It just doesn't work. Like Joe Rexroad pointed out, the 2 picks they've used on quarterbacks that they've just discarded.
Yeah,
I just feel like you got a better chance of a hit at another position. I don't know. That is really strange to me how that has happened. Where and I feel like that could happen if you draft a kicker. If he doesn't get off to a good start, you're not going to keep him. You just can't have a project, right? We're like, hey, we're developing this draft pick as a kicker. You just can't do that. He's either got to be your kicker or he's not. So he's got to be special to even consider it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that there will be kickers out there. You just try to find the right one. It's a lot like, I don't know. It's not the same thing, but I see a lot of goalies. Let's take Lankinen that we saw last night. He's been a nice fit for Chicago, kind of out of nowhere, right? He wasn't a high pick. Just worked on his craft over time, like a late bloomer. Chris Mason was like that too. A lot of time in the minors. There are kickers that they just keep working at it. They keep working at it. They're on a practice squad. They try out every year. They don't quite make it, but they get better and better. And then they get a chance. They make the kicks in the game and they stick. And then sometimes once they stick, they're there for 15 years. I think that's still the best way to find a kicker to me.
Yeah, and
sometimes you struggle. Sometimes you go through like, oh man, we don't have a kicker. It's such a stressful thing, as we've seen firsthand here, right? They went through it 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that they're not going to bring Gostkowski back. They just haven't done it yet.
Do you think that's probably what they're doing? They're going to do?
I lean that way, unless, I see. I mean, there's no rush, right? Because you know that he's still out there, or you could sign an undrafted guy.
There could be a rush if somebody went and signed him. I don't think that's going to happen.
Sure, but it's also up to him. He may say like, I'm either going to kick for the Titans or I'm not going to kick.
Is there any chance it's Tucker McCann?
I think there's a chance.
I think you have to say there's a chance. Sure. I mean, they've held on to him this long, so why wouldn't?
And why am I forgetting? Who's the guy again that kicked the division-winning field goal at the end?
Sloman.
I mean,
Sloman the showman.
How could you not get Sloman?
Come on, give him. Sloman's out there.
He is definitely out
there. He's a hero.
He's out there.
He was drafted too.
He was drafted?
7th round, 248th overall in the 2020 draft to the Rams.
Ooh,
wow.
Sam Sloman, Miami, Ohio's greatest.
He's got upside. He's got upside.
I feel even better about what you said. Yeah, don't
There's
draft.
Options.
Don't draft. That was a 7th round pick. Yeah, don't do it. Don't
do it.
All right, Willie, tell everybody about loans.
All right. How about Loan Pronto? That is what I'm going to tell you about. Pronto. They are a tremendous sponsor of our show. We are really glad to have them aboard. And so let me tell you about this process about refinancing your home or taking out a home equity line of credit from working with Loan Pronto. The zero-cost refi is what we're talking about. So there's a couple of things you can do here. Number one, with Loan Pronto, you lower that monthly mortgage payment. It saves you sometimes several $100s per month. That's a huge thing for your budget. So that's one reason to do it. But others might be looking to do something with home improvement. Maybe you want to do a renovation and you need some cash, where you can work off of your home's equity with Loan Pronto. And here's the best part about it. The zero-cost refi is really streamlined. It's not the hassle that it has been before. They're going to cut out a lot of the process. They're going to simplify. It's faster, it's easier, and it's less expensive. It's going to save you all of the closing costs. No closing costs, and your next 2 house payments will be skipped altogether. That must be music to your ears. If you've done this before and it's been a long process, call Loan Pronto right now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. And ask about that zero-cost refi. You can also go online at loanpronto.com, find out about their VA loan rates, which are also available. They specialize in the VA streamline loans. So that's another thing to ask about at 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. You want to ask about the zero-cost refi. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. No cash refi. Not available on all loans.
From all day talk, the good shooters, you notice because their shot looks different. The puck just seems to be on the goalie quicker. To the biggest games.
Open man is Devontae Smith, touchdown.
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search the game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Temperatures continue to warm their way throughout the 70s this afternoon to a high of 75 degrees. Clouds thickening up ahead of storm chances tonight and then much cooler midweek.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the happy face truck today.
All aboard the Mayday Express. Bavarian Beer House is hosting a May 1st Mayday train excursion that loops through Middle Tennessee. Enjoy live folk music and the festively decorated train cars while you eat and drink delicious German food and beer. More info and tickets at beerhousenashville.com. The NFL Draft is coming. Tune in every Monday at 4, Wednesday at 8, and Thursday at noon as we get you set with Draft Outlooks, featuring exclusive insight on the prospects that will be selected in the upcoming draft. It's all brought to you by Apple Collision Centers and Farm Bureau Health Plans.
At Founders Brewing, we asked ourselves, what if we brewed a beer perfect for any occasion? A beer that makes a weekday feel more like the weekend, and the weekend feel more like an adventure. What if we celebrated taste and flavor and life's simple pleasures? And what if we brewed a beer that could go where you go without slowing you down? What if? Chase your what if with Founders All Day IPA. Low ABV and full flavor that goes where you go. Visit foundersbrewing.com to find All Day IPA.
If you've been thinking about remodeling your home's kitchen or bath, contact the countertop experts at Smoky Mountain Tops. Willie Daunic here, and we installed Smoky Mountain Top surfacing in our kitchen years ago. It's remained durable and super easy to clean up. Smoky Mountain Tops is proud to offer the new prestigious Vidara quartz for your kitchen or bath countertops. Vidara surfaces are ideal for use in almost any interior application. Check out the stunning new Vidara quartz shown at Smoky Mountain Top Studio. Contact the pros at Smoky Mountain Tops. Quality, service, and dedication. Visit SmokyMountainTops.com.
It's time to hit the road in a new Toyota. And when you run the numbers, you'll find big savings on Toyota's best-selling models. Now through May 3rd, get $1,000 customer cash on a rugged new 21 Tacoma or $1,250 customer cash on an exciting new Camry. Excludes TRD Pro and Camry TRD. Get $1,500 on a stylish new Corolla or $1,750 on the aggressively sophisticated Highlander. For complete details, go to buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Jared Stillman.
I mean, I'm serious. Who's going to be the quarterback of the Patriots? You cannot tell me it's going to be Cam.
And company.
Do I think that he had a really, really tough job following the GOAT? Yes, 100% I think he did.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Daunic, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Tim Hasselbeck, normally Wednesdays at noon. His TV schedule, darn, ESPN TV just keeps getting in the way. So he's going to join us at 1 o'clock. So we keep having some conflicts on Wednesdays. That's fine. We'll talk to him here coming up in about 10 minutes.
I told him we're going to put his face on a wheel and we're just going to spin it around, and that's when he's going to come on with us.
But would that work though? I mean, I feel like they're just, and I will say, I mean, if you turn it on, they're using him for all their NFL Live and Get Up and Sports Center. I mean, they are using him a lot.
He's a popular guy.
He is a popular guy. I was just reading during the break. I don't mean to laugh, but it's when you see the results, then you kind of have to chuckle. UTEP football has been hit with some penalties by the NCAA. The NCAA is going to take all their anger out on the Miners. They have hit them with a 1-year show cause for their head coach, Dana. Is it Dana Dimel?
Sure.
Okay. He has evidently had his quality control assistants. Okay. He's had his quality control assistants helping coach in practice. And the NCAA said that is an absolute no-no. Now,
say no.
I bring that up because on his watch, they have won, let's see, in 2018, they went 1-11. 2019, they went 1-11. In 2020, they went 3-5.
Is that bad?
It's not good.
So they have gone on Dana, whatever his last name is, on his watch. What's that? 5-27. And the NCAA has hit them with a 1-year show cause because they've been using quality control assistants at practice. That's a no-no.
Not much quality.
Willie flying in off the top
Please make
rope.
that a promo. Please make that a promo.
Not much quality.
NCAA, you keep You keep doing a bang up job, but boy, you show them.
They really
You
brought the
show
Miners
UTEP.
down.
Boy, you show those Miners.
There's no way they're going 5-27 the next few years now.
No way.
They'd be lucky to win 3.
Well,
they
this
sound
year,
like Miners for sure. Like that is the Miners.
1 year show cause. That's like Ed Orgeron last year going, you know what? This is outlandish. We're going to penalize ourselves. We are not going to a bowl game this year. We cannot be doing this stuff.
Speaking of that, anybody know what's going on with the Tennessee investigation? You know,
Oh yeah.
like it's not on
Forgot about
anybody's
that.
mind. Like they've moved forward, but you know, remember they made it a point. Oh, we cannot tolerate any wrongdoing, and this is an outrage. Like what's going on with the legal situation with Jeremy Pruitt? Is he going to recapture any money? I would love to know what's going on with that mess, but it's been sort of swept under the rug because you got the new guy in there and everybody's watching the spring and all that stuff.
Yeah, they were like, we will not tolerate any of this. Now,
Right.
please watch this 20-minute tribute video to Philip Fulmer.
And we're moving on. Here's our new coach.
They probably felt like that was punishment enough. They had Jeremy Pruitt for 3 years.
Oh, what an awful hire.
I mean,
But like the NCAA,
awful.
you know, we rightfully so ribbed the NCAA, but that's something, you know, Tennessee came forward with these things, right? Oh, these allegations. We've got to figure this out. We can't keep this coach. But with that should be some penalties, right? They fired the coach for cause.
You would think.
So what are the NCAA violations?
That's why it's so laughable. You all these things you bring up, and then they hit UTEP with a show cause.
Right.
We're going to get you guys. How dare you do that? You go 1-11 every year. You're if you weren't doing that, you wouldn't win a game, guys. So that's a 1 year show cause.
The thing that cracks me up is when a program like that, which I guess using quality control coaches, like how is that big of a deal? But you cheat or you break the rules and you suck. So obviously you're not doing it right. Like if you're gonna cheat, figure out a way to win. Tennessee.
I was gonna say, who were we just talking about? Hello,
Tennessee. Prime example.
But
he couldn't even cheat right.
Well, but he did though. He got the kids. He got the recruits.
Well, he
I
did.
mean, recruiting did work. I mean, they were tearing it up on the recruiting trail, and they were clearly,
coach him.
Doing some stuff that maybe stuff that are frowned upon. But it didn't help them. But I mean, it did help them because everybody thought that it was, that they were getting the players in there. You just didn't do anything with them.
And now he and Derek Dooley are on the same staff, which is just tremendous. Tremendous.
The Giants?
Yes. As a Cowboys
I was just
fan, I'm
thinking
good
too,
with that.
guys, when's the last time that you saw a UTEP football game?
Ever?
Ever?
I've been to their stadium.
Do you think
I saw
you've
a bowl
ever
game
watched
there, but UTEP
UTEP
wasn't
play?
in it. No.
I think Jordan Palmer was there the last time I actually tuned into a UTEP football game.
I think we know the answer to that.
Let's see here.
Who was the last big minor?
They are in. Say so.
No, I
Did they
understand
play-
that, but
did they play
Aaron
MTSU
Jones
this year?
was there.
Was he?
Yeah, Aaron Jones was
Aaron
there.
Jones was a minor.
He was a minor. Yeah, they still, I guess, weren't very good when he was there, but he was there. He is a UTEP alum.
Wow. I mean, I just kind of feel like their claimed fame is like Tim Hardaway, right?
Let's see. So this year,
That's what I think more of their basketball than football.
in football, they played Texas and lost 59-3.
All right.
See, that's why they needed
Will-
extra practice.
Will Healy and Charlotte defeated them 38-28 in October. Did not play the Blue Raiders. Yeah.
Maybe they need to
5-27.
Sounds like the Blue Raiders need to schedule the Miners.
No bowl game for
Let's
you
get some
guys.
games.
Like twice a year. Do a home and home in the same
schedule
season.
A couple of home and home.
Double
Some
header.
Cubs. Been hit with the show cause.
Do it
Take
long enough, you
advantage.
get bowl eligible.
Their phone might be ringing, honestly.
Now you may remember this.
You guys want to play?
2 years ago or 3 years ago, 2018, they actually played in Knoxville and lost 24-0 to Tennessee.
That was
I don't remember that game.
That was a memorable game.
I think that was on Vol Vision.
The fact that it was only 24-0.
We can't even put that on SEC Network.
Yeah,
Plus.
that didn't even get on YouTube.
Remember, they used to have a couple games per
24-0.
year that were just on pay-per-view because they didn't make any of the channels before the SEC Network and the streaming services came in.
I remember watching many a Tennessee Southern Miss game on Dish Network pay-per-view.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come
Jeremy
back.
Pruitt's first year, I think.
Tim Hasselbeck to begin the final hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase. That's next.
This is Ryan Johansson, and this is Smashville. Across the line, drops now for Johansson. He scores! Ryan Johansson scores shorthanded.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 of the game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Homeowners, if your mortgage rate starts with a 3, you can save a ton of money with Loan Pronto's zero-cost refi. Hey, it's Willie Daunic. You got to check out Loan Pronto. LoanPronto.com. It's all new here with an all-digital platform. They make home mortgage refinancing fast and easy with super low rates and 0 closing costs. You can end up with a lower house payment with no cash out of your pocket. It's incredible. Loan Pronto makes it easy. They can close in 3 to 4 weeks with no paperwork and no big bank hassle. Loan Pronto can cover all your closing costs. No points, no attorney fees. In fact, most Loan Pronto refis don't even require an appraisal. So call now and ask about the Loan Pronto zero-cost refi. 615-499-5780. Do it now and even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. No cash refi not available on all loans.
Buy from where the dealers buy at Wholesale Inc. in Mount Juliet, powered by Rumbalong. They're rebuilding to be bigger and better than ever and are ready to put you in the vehicle of your dreams. They'll even trade or buy anything with the VIN number. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, motorhomes, boats, and more. Buying a used vehicle should be fun and exciting, not stressful and boring. For those reasons, Wholesale Inc. makes it simple to browse and shop thousands of used cars, trucks, SUVs, and more at wholesaleinc.com. When you're in the market for a quality pre-owned vehicle, buy from where the dealers buy. Wholesale Inc. on Eastgate Boulevard in Mount Juliet and wholesaleinc.com.
Signs First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Peterborough, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegaynashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Wholesale Link Studios, powered by Rumbalon.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
I'm dreaming.
Get your sexy out.
We are.
You ready?
Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst, our expert, joining us here on this Tuesday. It's been a while since we've talked to him on a Tuesday, but he is in demand on television. And boy, he was dead on right about his, the shot behind him. We got the extra layer when we had him on our Zoom call when he joined us that you don't see on ESPN. So we got that extra shelf that you don't see on television. So we feel special.
The top shelf with Tim Hasselbeck.
Yeah. No, the wide angle is you got to be in the circle of trust to get the wide angle, and the wide angle is going to it's going to show things that TV doesn't show. Just to be honest.
Well, no, it was in the shot, the NFL Europe helmet, right? That was.
Yeah, that one makes it. Listen, you can't have the Berlin Thunder helmet not make TV. I mean, but everybody needs to see the Berlin Thunder helmet. No, I think there's some. I think there's a wedding photo. I think there's a look at this. This is a 2014 girls first grade flag football ball on the shelf that doesn't make it on SportsCenter.
Yeah. By the way, we had quite the combo on Friday. You at noon, Trent Dilfer at 1. Trent was in Omaha with his girls, one at Lipscomb, one at Louisville, and I think they were playing in the NCAA tournament, volleyball tournament?
For volleyball tournament, yes. In fact, earlier that day, Lipscomb Academy football must have put something out on Twitter like, hey, check out the Dilfer girls playing. And I read it wrong. So I thought it was like Louisville volleyball was playing Lipscomb University volleyball. And I was like, oh, now he has one of his daughters a little bit more intense than the other. And so I was like, hey, I hope so-and-so wins, because otherwise that's going to be a tough family dinner afterwards. I thought they were playing each other. So which he responded, and he was like, no, I would not be able to handle them playing each other. Like, he's like, I think I would have a heart attack during the match.
Have you had to experience anything? I mean, that is like a parent's nightmare, right? I mean, kids squaring off against each other.
My only experience with that is this. Okay, I was with the Giants. We were playing the Seahawks. You guys may remember the game. Like the Giants, we jumped off sides like 15 times, and Jay Feely was our kicker. He missed. I'm not exaggerating. I think he missed 5 field goals in the game. So it's like this crazy game. Giants out at the Seahawks. Well, the night before the game, we all kind of get together as a family. It's me and my brothers, my parents are there. Brought my grandmother into town. And, the whole idea was like, my parents were like, well, we're going to cheer for the offense. Well, the game gets tight and goes into overtime. And next thing you know, the Seahawks are like battling back, and like Eli throws a pick or something. And I look over to where my family is sitting, and everyone's like high-fiving each other and stuff. I was like, hold up a second.
Hey,
what was that? Like, hey, we're going to cheer for the offense stuff. Yeah.
We had Dan Shanka on last hour, and we were talking about, it seems pretty uneventful for the first 2 picks, but San Francisco gave up a haul. They clearly know who they want at 3. But it seems like everybody's all over the place, Tim, about what the 49ers are going to do at 3. So what's your intel telling us? What do you think they're going to do at 3? Because they know. I just feel like, but everybody else is kind of trying to throw darts to figure out who it is.
Yeah. Well, so I think you're right in that they know. There's been a lot of this talk about, why are they doing this at Trey Lance's workout if they know they're taking Mac Jones, and, they're still deciding. Like, you don't do what they did, to your point, and move all the way up there if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Now, I think there's probably a reason to, not necessarily give away what you're doing. But I also take this, like, just take this as an example. If you represent Trey Lance, okay, and the 49ers, want to you to work out, and they want you to work out with a specific coach that you're not working out with, which is what happened yesterday. And they're not going to take you. You don't do it. Like, why are you going to go work out? John Beck or Jay, one of the Beck brothers, who was the quarterback trainer, that Kyle Shanahan wanted Trey Lance to work out with. You don't do it if they're not going to potentially draft you. So I just think there's something there. To me, it doesn't make sense. I think Mac Jones is a good prospect. You've heard me talk about Mac Jones. I would not draft him in the first round because I think there's athletic deficiencies there that, would kind of disqualify him from being a first-round draft pick. Trey Lance doesn't have those kind of issues. He is a little bit more of a project, but he's got all the tools. I just think that 49ers pick is either Fields or Lance. I actually don't believe that it's Mac Jones.
Interesting. So I'm going to ask you what your thoughts are on this, because we see this all the time, and it's not fair just to pigeonhole Trey Lance with this because he played at North Dakota State, because sometimes at the Power 5 schools, they've got such athletic players that, you see the same film on them. But I brought up yesterday on the show, Tim, that I've seen, I don't watch film like you or others, but the clips that I've seen, and I've seen quite a bit of Trey Lance, it seems like he's always throwing to wide open guys. Like, how do you truly evaluate? Like, I want to see him make the tight throws. I want to see him throw somebody open, right? I feel like I'm not seeing those, and I'm not saying they don't exist. But when that happens, when you see a lot of film on a kid where, for whatever reason, why it was happening, but that he's just constantly throwing to guys that he's never going to see at the NFL level. Guys like that are never going to be open. How do you truly evaluate them?
It makes it really hard. And so I think there's fool's gold when watching tape. And I think it's one of the reasons it's hard to evaluate quarterbacks. Trey Lance is a great example. You're exactly right about guys running free and wide open. People need to understand that North Dakota State is the Alabama of that league. Okay. Like that's who they are. They are a juggernaut and they dominate it. They dominated it with Carson Wentz. They dominated it with Easton Stick, who's with the Chargers, and they dominated it with Trey Lance. Like they are the Alabama of that, that division. Okay. Well, so when you watch some of that stuff, yes, he's got guys running free. Kind of a similar thing with Wentz because, look, they're doing a good job. They have better players and they're well coached. And, on top of that, some of the plays that you see where he's, running with the football, it's because there was a mistake, a mental mistake, missing a pass protection issue. And he's just bigger, stronger, faster that he's running through guys, like we ran, some highlights yesterday on SportsCenter and they were against UC Davis, Montana State, and some other school that I forget. Well, I mean, we're not going to hear those schools called a lot, during the draft. Or at all. So, yeah, that's a problem. But equally as difficult, Darren, I would tell you is this. When you watch Mac Jones, watch him throw a bubble against Notre Dame, a really good team, and it's not even blocked correctly, and it goes 35 yards for a score. Or watch him throw an RPO, and he throws an inside slant, and one of those wide receivers takes it 40 yards for a touchdown. Like, there's fool's gold at every level, and sorting through it is really hard.
Okay, I've made it well known on this show, and I know I've brought it up with you many times, but I want to get your perspective because you've played both roles. You've been a starter, you've been the backup, so you understand the importance of both. And I just want you to tell me, concerned, not concerned. I've harped for years whenever I feel like the Titans don't have an adequate backup, like how big of a mistake that is. And when I was excited when they got Ryan Tannehill, just because I thought, man, that is the best backup that they've had in a good while. And we know how that's all played out. Here they sit with Logan Woodside and Deshaun Kaiser. I understand if Ryan Tannehill plays 17 games, like he played 16 last year, it's a complete non-issue. Like, I get that. But if he misses a month, like, are you comfortable with those guys as your backups going into a season and knowing if Tannehill has to miss any sort of time, that those guys, whether it's Logan Woodside, I'm assuming it would be Woodside as the backup, as the two. Are you comfortable with him going out there and getting you wins, let's say in a tight race when you're battling the Colts for a division?
I would say this. I think that I think Logan Woodside is a guy whose physical ability is really good. Like, I think there are guys that are playing starters that maybe he physically is as talented or more talented than, which is why I think that even without like his past, that he's lasted the way that he has. Hundley's a tricky one for me because I think there's potential there, but yet he just has played poorly whenever he's been given the opportunity. So, look, I like the idea that, you're not just kind of handing it to Logan Woodside. Do I think that you could maybe find, more competition there? Yeah, I think you probably could. All of that to say, like, well, how do you go find the guy that you're interested in, that you're talking about? Like, how do you go figure out who that is that you would, that you would want to pay. Like what I guess here should be the question: how much money do you want to pay your backup?
That's
you
the
want to pay
key,
him
right?
$5
The
million
budget.
bucks a year.
What are you budgeting?
Do you want to pay him $5 million bucks a year? Like what is it? Like,
That's a good
I
question.
don't know that.
He's asking you, Darren.
Hundley's
Well,
any
he's
better
asking
than-
you the same thing I always ask you, because you say that you bring the same thing up, but that is such a huge part of it, right?
I understand. Well, at the time they had, they got, and I understand they got a sweetheart deal from Miami, but I said initially I guess it would be a month or two ago, I said I would kick the tires on Alex Smith and see where his head is at. Obviously, that is out of the picture now.
His
as
head is
we've
gone.
learned yesterday. His head is out of the game. He's retiring. But I said I would ask the guy, hey, are you cool coming here and being a backup? And I don't have any clue about the answer. This was a month and a half ago. But somebody like that with that experience, to me, would have been a perfect fit for the right price. And I understand the price is the question. And I don't know what the right price would have been with him.
Guys. Yeah, the price on those guys, I think, is well north of $5 million bucks. And I think that you can look at a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, their backup is Blaine Gabbert. And so, like I think the reality is like once you get into like the guys you can get your hands on that you're not paying elite backup money to, because I don't think you want to based on Tannehill's age, general health, all of that stuff. Like, I don't think you want to get outside the Nick Mullins, Josh Dobbs, Brian Hoyer, world. I don't think you do. And so Matt Barkley, for that matter, like I don't think you want to get outside of that. And I think that that's kind of exactly where you sit with, the guys that they have.
Tim Hasselback is with us. Tim, your thoughts on the Steelers' decision to extend Mike Tomlin? I guess we shouldn't be surprised. They've had, 3 coaches in about 100 years, the Steelers? But this one, did you see this coming?
No, I can't say I saw it coming, but I think my reaction would kind of be like yours there, Willie, where it's like, well, what do we think? It's the Steelers. Of course. And I think sometimes even with good coaches, there comes a time where you need change and different scenery and stuff like that. I don't think that that's where the Steelers are. I think he's a good coach. I think he's well respected by the players. He's certainly well respected by other coaches around the league. And sometimes you got to ask yourself, all right, well, if Mike Tomlin were available, would there be multiple opportunities for him? And the answer to that is yes. And so if that's the case, I just think that, even though that team is probably going through some turnover, and it's going to be turnover that goes beyond this year, I think it does make a lot of sense for them.
As I read the daily stuff on Deshaun Watson, I'm just trying to think from the perspective of the Texans as they get ready for the draft. I guess they're trying to get as much clarity as they can before the draft actually starts, but probably thinking they're not going to know the full picture here. So what do you think this does to how they approach the draft?
I think it's I think that it basically, I think how to say this. I think it basically totally hamstrings them on anything they can do. You could go from, everything's fine, he's at training camp, he's your starting quarterback, right? To he never plays another snap in the NFL. Like you literally could have that type of swing with that situation. So you're either building around a guy that is, easily a top 10 quarterback to completely restarting at the position. So I think it is an impossible situation because you don't know the outcome, and you're not going to know the outcome. And I quite honestly don't know how you handle it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think that, and that all of what you said is separate from the whole dispute that was going on, right? With I don't want to play there anymore. Like
Totally
it's like a
separate.
second
Totally
layer,
separate.
right?
Hey, when's the last time we heard about that?
Right.
When's the last time that we heard that Cal McNair lied to Deshaun Watson? And that he's going to sit the year out and not show up to training camp. The last time we heard that. So, I mean, I think it's pretty clear you can't take that position now if you're Deshaun Watson. Now, honestly, you just hope that you can go back to the Texans.
I always am curious of what you hear about what the Patriots are doing. They've always fascinated us, right? Here they are in sort of a different situation than they've been in years. But the wheels are turning. They've got a plan. It's been a little interesting. Bringing with Cam Newton, everybody's wondering, is he going to be the quarterback against what do you think is happening? What do you think the philosophy is with the Patriots? Do you feel like they think they can win next year and get back to being a playoff team, say?
I mean, I have to think they believe that they can. The Cam Newton thing surprises me. I was wrong about how well I thought that he would play. I mean, this is a passing league. He was terrible passing the football a year ago. I mean, just there's really no other way around it. Now, I'm sure they feel like they got better. Between N'Keal Harry being a year older and Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar and guys like that, they did get a bunch of guys that were opt-outs from a year ago coming back. So I do think that they probably feel like their roster this time of year versus when guys were opting out, roughly a year ago is better. But quarterback's important. And if Cam Newton is the answer, which his contract states that basically he is not, but if that ends up what they're doing, I just have to say I don't feel great about that happening. And I know a lot of people have linked them to quarterbacks, and I think that could easily make sense. And I may change how I feel about the prospects of the direction of that franchise if for some reason they end up with Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, that would be interesting. Tim Hasselbeck is with us, ESPN NFL analyst, joins us usually on Wednesdays, but at 1 o'clock here on a Tuesday today. So sticking with the quarterback theme, I think we'd all agree that Josh Allen of any quarterback last year took the biggest leap just across the board with what he was able to do getting his team to the AFC title game. You can make the argument the year before it was Ryan Tannehill right here in Nashville with the Titans. In your mind, and it's a broad question, but who has the biggest opportunity to be this year's Josh Allen or Ryan Tannehill?
I think on the Ryan Tannehill front, you've heard people kind of, talk about Sam Darnold as a guy that, can take a huge, leap just because of, the environment that he's in. So I think that, for a Tannehill example of a guy with change of scenery and how significant that is, I think that could be Darnold. For a young guy who, maybe just plays better, a little bit more along the lines of Josh Allen. I think, there'd maybe be an element for me that would feel like, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Drew Lock. I think there's a lot of talent around him. Now, I think there's a chance that they find him some legitimate competition in this draft. But if it's not too early and he can kind of fight his way through it, I could see him as a guy who, I think people are lukewarm on at best that could take a big jump.
Okay, so second or third year guys that you look could, and it doesn't have to be, someone that's been bad necessarily, but, has been average and they're just kind of working their way up. So a second or third year guy, how would you answer that question of who could make the biggest leap?
Well, I mean, I don't think Kyler Murray's been bad, but so he's, so like he would be a guy that I feel like, I said a year ago that I thought he was kind of a off the radar, an NFL MVP type of player. Like he could be that. So, I think Kyler Murray would be a guy that, I would say. So I guess we're going the last 2 years essentially. Look, I think I'm going to be interested to see what Joe Burrow looks like. It seems like we didn't get a chance to see a ton of him. obviously the injury and coming back from it, he was so mobile, kind of slippery, and kind of had good escapability and that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. But I think sometimes we forget about guys if they're out for a little bit because of an injury. We forget, like, look, he was the number 1 overall pick for a very good reason.
Is there a quarterback you guys were talking about backups earlier. So is there a quarterback in this draft that you could see, in the mid rounds, later rounds, that's not getting a lot of hype, but you've seen enough to make you think, okay, that's somebody that I could trust? You develop into a backup quarterback, maybe not necessarily right away, but is there someone that stands out to you that you like from that aspect?
So I think that Jamie Newman is really interesting. Here's the deal. He was a starter at Wake Forest. He was essentially a completely raw prospect when he came to Wake Forest. He's about 6'3", 235. He's a very good runner with the football. Super strong, more strong than fast, but he's a very good runner. He throws an excellent deep ball. He's got great accuracy. I think he's very good. Now, he played in this unique offense at Wake Forest. It's like heavy RPO offense. And so it's a little unique. Well, then he transfers to Georgia, basically gets beat out at Georgia, and then opts out for the season. Had he stayed at Wake Forest and had a monster year, which I think he would have had, I think people would be talking about him as a fringe first-round pick. Now, he won't go in the first round, and so he's going to be a later round pick, and who knows what his opportunity will be. But he, in some ways, to me, is a version of, Trey Lance or Justin Fields, but maybe not as athletic. But he's played a good amount of football, and I think he can actually be a pretty good player if, kind of in the right situation and you put the right work in to help him kind of get better at things that he hasn't done a whole lot of.
Interesting. That sounds like a bad decision then.
So he should have stayed in the claw
Should have
fence,
stayed.
huh?
Well, no, and it's serious, but I think this: you're at Wake Forest, you're playing in front of like 15,000 people. The people you're playing against all have better players than you have, and because of the transfer portal thing, it's like, look, I've kind of accomplished what I feel like I needed to here. Like, what if I go to Georgia, who's desperate for a quarterback? Well, you go there, and it's this weird year, and now you're playing under center some, and they get another transfer, and maybe you're just like, wait a second, I might get beat out. That's not going to be good. So he kind of gets saved by the opt-out, rule because of COVID. And so opting out probably was better than getting beat out. But, sometimes the grass isn't always greener.
Oh, well, I bet Willie just perked up here at that.
Aha. See?
I was waiting where I said.
See, Tim and I think are on the same wavelength on this whole thing. I just don't like the free-for-all transfer direction that everything's going.
Listen, buckle up because
I know
it's only getting worse.
College basketball is a mess with this.
Listen, it's bad. Look, I think that listen. If a guy's in a bad situation, coach leaves or whatever, look, I get it for the player, but I see it as bad for the player and for the coaches. I know that college coaches, they're part of the reason they're working the portal so hard is because they think that they're like, look, we're going to lose guys that we don't think we're going to lose. Like we have guys that enter the portal that were like, why are you going? Like, we're expecting you to play literally, 80% of the offensive snaps this year. Why are you going somewhere else? Like,
I'm curious to see how it changes recruiting because, like coaches are going to,
you're going to have recruiters on your staff to re-recruit your players.
Yeah.
Like that center on that and people that are recruiting high school players. It might be just as important to keep your guys in the stable.
Hey, I'll give you a good one. Remember Kendall Hinton, who started the game for the Broncos this past year at quarterback, but he's really a receiver? Well, it kind of made me think of it because of Wake Forest.
You mean when all the quarterbacks were hanging out together and all got –
Yeah, correct. Well, he entered the transfer portal when he was at Wake Forest because he was playing in the slot, this and that. Well, Dave Clawson, their coach, said to his mom, he's like, look, I don't understand he transferred the portal, but this is the best place for him. And quite honestly, I think he's going to end up being back here. Well, sure enough, he kind of enters the portal, doesn't find a spot, ends up being back there. And look, still found his way to the NFL because in that offense, playing in the slot with kind of a quarterback mindset, being a former quarterback, was great for him. You know, had he transferred to somewhere else, like that might have been it. So, yeah, I do think I'm with you on that, Willie.
Tim, always appreciate it. You have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Cool. See you guys.
Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst, our expert here. Joining us today on a Tuesday. He's got some TV conflicts for tomorrow. Typically, it's Wednesdays at noon. Masvidal and Usman, yeah, they put on a show the last time, and when they stepped in the octagon, they're going to do it again. And DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC, is putting you in the center of this weekend's title fight. Yes, pick either main event fighter to win this weekend's UFC 261 title fight. And DraftKings Sportsbook will give you 26-1 odds. You just bet $5 of your money on either fighter to win. And if they walk away with the belt, you cash $130. Not bad, huh? There's no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test than to put your money where your mouth is. And all you have to do is download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that code 1025GAME. And when you sign up, turn $5 into $130 if the title contender of your choice wins. That code again, 1025GAME. This is, of course, for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and needs help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
The puck in front of the score! And all of a sudden it's 5-2.
The Preds continue their dominance over Chicago to grab another 2 key points.
Thankful for the fans, and it's great to see them back in the building.
The 2 teams are back at it Wednesday night in Chicago, your home of Smashville.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're vibing.
It's time to hit the road in a new Toyota. And when you run the numbers, you'll find big savings on Toyota's best-selling models. Now through May 3rd, get $1,000 customer cash on a rugged new 21 Tacoma or $1,250 customer cash on an exciting new Camry. Excludes TRD Pro and Camry TRD. Get $1,500 on a stylish new Corolla or $1,750 on the aggressively sophisticated Highlander. For complete details, go to buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
If you've been thinking about remodeling your home's kitchen or bath, contact the countertop experts at Smoky Mountain Tops. Willie Daunic here, and we installed Smoky Mountain Top surfacing in our kitchen years ago. It's remained durable and super easy to clean up. Smoky Mountain Tops is proud to offer the new prestigious Vidara quartz for your kitchen or bath countertops. Vidara surfaces are ideal for use in almost any interior application. Check out the stunning new Vidara quartz shown at Smoky Mountain Top Studio. Contact the pros at Smoky Mountain Tops. Quality, service, and dedication. Visit SmokyMountainTops.com.
When foot and ankle pain causes you to sit out on life's activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Michelle Taylor at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Taylor can diagnose your problem and treat the whole foot and ankle for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Dr. Taylor is board certified and fellowship trained, with some of his specialties being simple and complex periarticular trauma, total ankle arthroplasty, tendon transfers, and reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Taylor and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Let me get right back to you. Sandra, those banners go out tonight. Can you pack them? Indeed. Knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin. On machine 4? Like at Monica's Print Shop. To fulfill orders on time, she needs to get started hiring right away. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
With Robbie Stanley.
There's a lot of rich history, obviously, but it's also been a place that has been an absolute dumpster fire.
It's the latest on the Big Orange in Knoxville. Check out the Power T podcast every Tuesday on your favorite podcast platform or theGameNashville.com.
Hey, Nashville, this is new Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Don't forget on Friday, we're giving away free beer. That was a joke from earlier today on myself.
Got to be listening.
Who doesn't want free beer? Thank you. You do. And you need to be listening on Friday. You'll have a chance to win a $25 gift card from Bavarian Beer House that's located at Opry Mills Mall. Now, this is supposed to go to Adam Vingan, but you have a chance to take that from him on Friday when you call in. So make sure you participate on Friday to get that $25 gift card from Bavarian Beer House located at Opry Mills Mall. Now, have you guys seen this story about, I was just thinking about all the times we've heard this discussion here about the Power Fives, right, pulling away.
Yep.
Have you heard about this Super League in Europe, over in Europe with the European
I'm just
soccer?
reading about this a little bit today for the first time. I don't know if I've wrapped my arms around it because I don't understand the current system as much, but this is really interesting to me.
Well, if you're seeing, at least if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, it looks like today during the course of our show, it's starting to unravel a bit. I just saw where Manchester City said, yeah, I think we're out of the Super League. And then I just saw another one. Was it
Chelsea?
Chelsea.
Also, U-turn.
Chelsea's like, yeah, we're out too.
Well, because they're being threatened. And this is what they knew what would happen.
Okay, but here's the deal, though. Is it kind of like the NCAA, though? Aren't their threats a little bit hollow? I mean, when they said, oh, you will not compete in the World Cup, do they have the rights to really do that? Can they do that? Do they have the power, the juice to really do that?
I think FIFA is one of the most crooked organizations.
Right. Isn't it hilarious? Them coming from right? Coming from them like, hey, don't you do this. I mean, like, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, because, the Super League may not come, to happen because there's a power struggle with all these leagues in soccer. I mean, soccer is, I'm learning more and more about, not just in this country, but soccer around the world, and just the control that it would appear some of these leagues have is astonishing. But FIFA,
you mean the money that they print on a daily basis?
Sure. And it's the money. I mean, they, Messi and these
billions.
Guys, billions, billions
with a B, billions at stake. Because they said this would be close to like it'd be like $4.5 billion.
Yeah.
A year.
The founding clubs intend to split about $4.5 billion in seed money for signing on, and that was so Man U, Arsenal, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, teams like that would be a part of it. But then FIFA and others come in and basically say like, all right, well, you'll be banned from the leagues that you're in now because they want to start this in, I think, 2023. So you'll be banned from the leagues that you're in now, and then FIFA saying, yeah, your players can't participate.
So they're they're doing everything they can to block this.
Yeah,
this
of
thing.
Course.
What's the upside? What's the downside of having this league?
Well,
why do people want to have this league?
It's money. It's a cash grab. Cash grab. That's what it is
for the top teams in the world.
Right. It's not a cash grab. It is it's just a cash windfall.
But like you guys said, it's not like those teams aren't making money right now, right?
Sure,
no,
but it's $4.5 billion.
But here's the thing, Willie. It's just like the Power Five stuff. You're saying, you're making money. Yeah, but these guys are going, yeah, but we don't need to keep we want it all to ourselves. I mean, you don't think some of the power NFL owners, do you think they enjoy divvying it up 32 ways? You don't think if they could get away with it, they would lovely, you don't think Jerry Jones doesn't think like, man, look what I contribute to this league, and look what Jacksonville contributes to this league when it comes to revenue. Look at the revenue we generate as opposed to what, Arizona generates, right? I mean, you don't think that he doesn't have that complex, that the ones who bring more to the table, they look at some of these other owners that don't bring as much, and they're like, why do you get the same amount of money as me?
So who decides what teams get invited to this Super League?
Well, is there somebody like that is somewhat of a commissioner that's leading the charge, saying, "Okay, we want you guys." I'm not sure of. I mean,
how many teams would be in this league?
These teams. Well, it was
all around Europe, right?
No, it was originally going to be 12. Could in as many as 15 is what they want. So
from all over Europe, basically, or all over the world. Just Europe, right?
Mainly Europe.
It was Europe.
Mainly Europe, because they have the UEFA Champions League, that, consists of a lot of these. And see, this is, you have the EPL and La Liga and all these, but the UEFA, the Champions League, basically would go away if this happens.
Yep.
And so they want to have 12 to 15, and I guess they've just all gotten together. This sounds like it's kind of like a backroom deal. They've all just gotten together and said like, hey, if we got out of this and we went and we formed
Look
our
how
own
much
deal,
more money we could make.
We'll control everything.
What would it do to soccer? This is a question above my knowledge, but what would it do to the other leagues? Right. I think of this a little bit as, when travel teams started to form, and the unintended consequence, unfortunately, is it crushes the neighborhood leagues. Right. It leaves a lot of people behind, and the leagues just aren't the same. If the best players from every neighborhood are going to play travel, so if you take the top teams away from all the best leagues in Europe, what does that do to the remaining teams in those leagues?
Well, you answer the question. If the Power Five form their own Super League, what does that do to the rest of the leagues?
Well, I do think there would be an upside for those leagues, and that they could play for their own championship, and that could be pretty fun to watch. In some ways, I think there would be an upside. There'd be certainly a big downside too.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd like to think there would be a
power
compelling thing. Like, let's say Middle Tennessee is the champion of the Conference USA, and they're playing for a championship in a playoff against the winner from the Sun Belt and the winner
Sure.
from
Look,
the other.
And I'd be fine with
point.
that if they
But
did that.
What's the interest level?
I think it'd be a good interest level.
Okay, I that's what I would like to know.
Has
I don't.
spring football changed any of that? Like, did I sit down and watch, TSU and
No, you did not.
I did not. But I like, if I was flipping through, I might watch for a few minutes and then I keep flipping through. That was me. But I know there were some people that were like, oh, football's on, so I'm gonna watch it, and they were into it. The gambling aspect certainly helped it. Oh, hey, I can bet on football and watch it. So, but to your point, Willie, I have been a proponent of there should be a champion for the group of five and then the Power Five. And I do believe that the Power Five is eventually going to break away. They're going to be a league.
But why? I mean, we've had this topic has been out there for years and years.
That's why.
Years, and
money.
so why?
Because they could. So this article that I read from Andy Staples, where he basically created, now he did a 15-team league, for college football, similar to the Super League, and he consulted with somebody in the know with television and what the contract would be per year, and he said, Staples said that he believed it would be $1 billion per year, and the consultant said that's all, closer to 1.5 per year if they did that. I mean, that's now, I already know that their deals are pretty lucrative, but if you're getting 1.5 billion a year for a Super League, and we know that it would be more than 15 teams, it would basically be the Power Five. That's why. And then they don't have to share it with anybody else. It's just them.
Why do we think Chelsea and Man City and Barcelona and teams that people thought were going to be in the Super League, why do you think that they're pulling out today?
Well, also, this is another thought that I had. Remember when Texas pulled out, or was threatening to pull out, of the Big 12? Remember that whole
coming to the
thing?
SEC.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma State originally?
It started as a power move by Texas, and Texas basically was saying, we want more, and then the next thing you know, you got a Texas channel on ESPN. Is there still a Texas Longhorn Network or whatever?
Yeah, it's still there. Michael Griffin works for it.
But it was a little bit of what you're saying, like, hey, we're worth more than a lot of schools. We're bringing more to the table than a lot of schools in our league, so we want more. And if we don't get more, we're going to leave. And they won the power play, right? They stayed and they got the channel, and I don't know what else they got. I don't remember that far back, but it started the whole seismic, all kinds of people were moving to different conferences. That was part of the beginning of it all.
Well, I remember that was they were moving everywhere. That's when A&M and Missouri joined the
but
SEC.
basically the league had to sit there and go, all right, are we just going to let people leave? I guess if they want to leave, what can we do about it? And do we consider meeting their needs? Right. So is that what's happening in Europe with these teams that are like, well, we'll leave.
Probably.
We don't like what we're doing, we'll leave. So the league comes to them and says, well, what do we have to do to keep you here?
It's
we can't lose you.
It's certainly a power play. I mean, that's what it is. And
so ultimately, what do they want? Do they want to stay in their league and just be in better standing? I don't know. I don't know the soccer world very well, but I don't know. I would think. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to lose sleep over it one way or the other, but I kind of like the tradition of, the English Premier League. That wouldn't be the same without some of those teams, right? If a couple of those teams left, that'd be weird.
Yeah, and
what does it do to that league?
I would think the EPL would definitely figure out a way to keep them. I mean, that's the most powerful soccer league in the world, right?
But it didn't seem like they were begging them to stay. It was more trying to strong arm them. Like, okay, fine, then this is what we're going to do. We're going to make your life a living hell if you do it. So it seems like
I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know
learn
enough.
MLS.
I was going to say the three of us don't know enough about, and it's a pretty fresh story. We don't know enough about
but
it.
I like the sort of the parallels of what we've seen on stuff that we do know something about, and just trying to figure out what are the accurate comparisons and what's completely different over there.
Sure.
It's an interesting story.
Well, and I want to hit this article and see if you
let's
guys
do
agree
that
with
on the other
teams.
side. Yeah,
the grand finale.
Yes.
Yeah. Willie, you tell everybody about Lee Company, and then we will touch on this to close out Tuesday's show.
All right. Lee Company, of course, the big sponsor of our show, of our Predator coverage. They do an outstanding job. The next chapter is tomorrow night, 102.5 The Game. It's the game against the Predators against the Blackhawks, round 2 of 3, 2 in a row in Chicago. We'll have the radio coverage, as always, on 102.5 The Game. Darren will start the pregame show at 5 o'clock. It's a 6 o'clock start. And the game actually on television is on NBC tomorrow. But Lee Company is a proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators, and they want you to know that. They also want you to know that they can take care of your general maintenance needs at home and at work. If you've got a maintenance problem at work and it's a problem that's been sitting there on your desk and you're thinking, man, I just got to do something about this, pick up the phone and call 615-567-1000 right now. Or just go online and make an online appointment. Whatever's easier for you, whatever you prefer, just make the appointment and then you're done with it. And they'll come out and fix the problem. If it's with your air conditioning service, if it's with your heating service, if it's with just general maintenance, floors, doors, gates, things like that, they've got that department at Lee Company. Wide array of services, and they're ready to help you. Lee Company, 615-567-1000 or leecompany.com. Let their decades of expertise go to work for you.
From working at home.
And at some point, you're going to have to draft some new blood onto the offensive line.
To working on that honey-do list.
It all kind of comes back together of everybody wanting to make the moves for the respective GMs.
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download it today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Temperatures continue to warm their way throughout the 70s this afternoon to a high of 75 degrees. Clouds thickening up ahead of storm chances tonight and then much cooler midweek.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face truck today.
At the Gary Ashton team, we say don't sell without the intel. That's because we have the best database of properties in Nashville and because nobody knows this community better. We know the people, the neighborhoods, and the value of connection and teamwork. With those, you get a guaranteed offer your home that's also guaranteed Nashville. Guaranteed Nashville means you can sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give yourself up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping our neighbors and friends. That's why we have a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. The Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage. Don't sell without the intel.
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring extravaganza is here this weekend. 3 days of phenomenal savings store-wide. You save up to 35% off Genesis already guaranteed best prices. Rings, pendants, earrings, bracelets, bands, and more. Plus special financing. This event was canceled last year, so we're making it bigger than ever this year with twice the selection and double the savings. Get sale prices on all new designer jewelry and GIA certified diamonds this Friday through Sunday only, and only at Genesis Diamond, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit.
Genesis Diamond's first spring sale in 2 years is here this weekend, and they're holding nothing back. Save up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, all on sale. Last year's spring extravaganza was canceled, so they're doubling up this year with bigger discounts and expanded selection. Aggressive financing. Designers are here with their entire collections all on sale. Even certified diamond engagement rings are on sale, so don't miss this. Genesis store-wide spring extravaganza, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Teron Davenport. You ever had to sit and wait for 2 hours or longer to get new tires put on your car? Well, you don't have to do that anymore. Call my friends at Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire company that does it all. New tires, balance, rotation, everything. And they come to you. Your work, your job, your house, you name the spot. Head online to freedomtireguys.com, fill out their tire calculator, pick your new tires, and schedule your service date. It's that easy. If you don't see something you like, give them a call and they'll find it for you. Check them out today at freedomtireguys.com.
Robbie Stanley.
The two teams that we've wanted to see play and clash for a long time.
Joe Rexrode.
I think there's a good chance that we have a really, really good game.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Be sure to tune in every weekday for your chance to win $1,000. You heard me right. It's the game's 1K payday. Listen for keywords at 9 o'clock, noon, and 3 p.m. So you'll get another chance at 3 p.m. When you hear it, go to thegamenashville.com and enter the keyword for a shot at $1,000. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase, we were talking about the Super League that I guess they were trying to form over in Europe when it comes to European soccer, but I don't know. It looks like it's completely unraveling. And something along those lines, Chase, you were reading before the show today.
Yes, Andy Staples of The Athletic put this together and said, you know, if college football was going to do a 15 program Super League, what teams would be in, what would be out? And you know, you think about it off the top of your head. I mean, there's some pretty obvious names. Alabama obviously comes to mind.
This is football only. This is not an athletic program.
Well, he calls it program, but we're looking at it just from a college football Super League. So yes, okay. Just college football.
So is this like a fantasy world, or is this, okay, the top 15 football programs would compete in everything else, all the other 18 sports or whatever they have, and just football would do their own thing?
Yes, this would be a 15 team Super League. It would be, it's
football,
the same
football only.
It's the same thing, same concept as the soccer. So I just told you one, you know, throw out some teams that you think would be in here.
Alabama, Ohio State for sure. Yep. Clemson for sure.
Yep.
LSU for sure.
Yep.
So that is, what was that, 4?
Yep. Alabama, you said Clemson, LSU, Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. Oklahoma.
Yep.
Nebraska.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Really?
Why not?
They're on here.
Nebraska's on there? Wow.
Yeah, why not?
They are.
Because here is what it is. I mean, if you have a 15 team thing, like whoever you pick, you got you're going to have automatic recruiting superiority, right?
Okay. Georgia.
Yep.
So to me, it's like the 15
Florida
most lucrative programs, right?
Yep, Florida.
Okay.
So out of the SEC so far, you've named Alabama, Florida, Georgia, LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, what do we think, Willie? Michigan? Is Michigan in there?
I would say Texas A&M in terms of resources.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M is not.
Not.
Michigan is.
What about Michigan?
Michigan is, for sure.
Okay.
That's an over. I mean, yes, they have
Oregon.
a lot of Oregon.
Is
That's
it?
It is.
Wow.
That's a good guess. I was
So,
wondering if either one of you would bring them up.
USC?
USC.
So where are we at?
So you've named Alabama, Clemson, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Michigan,
Does he think this could actually
Nebraska,
happen, or is this just a fun
Ohio
thing
State.
based
This
on
is
the
just
soccer deal?
It's just.
I
a
think
fun
this is
thing.
kind of like the
Yeah.
Barrett Salee thing. It's just it's another list. It's list time.
Yeah, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, USC. You've left out a.
So we're missing
This
how
would be
many
basically a
teams?
professional league.
How many schools?
Like,
are
why
we?
even have the guys
Yeah.
go to school? You would just kind of say these are
Right.
host places.
1, 2, 3, 4. You're missing 4.
4 more.
Texas, did we name?
Texas
No, we
is
did not.
one.
We
No,
did not
that's
name
one.
Texas.
Yep.
Texas. This is a shot in the dark. Penn State.
Very good. Penn State is one,
Okay, so 2 more.
and you missed a big one.
We've missed a big one. Oh, Florida State?
No,
Florida State's not on there.
no.
Wow, boy. How far the mighty have fallen.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
There you go. Yeah, Notre Dame. And then the final one, I'm glad that I'm glad you haven't named this team, because I kind of was like, with that.
I'm trying to think of what conference we've not hit on. So we've got 2 from the Pac-12. Hit a couple Big 12 now. We've littered the SEC. Not much from the ACC. Is Clemson the only ACC?
Yes. This team is from the SEC.
It's from the SEC. So it must
Arkansas?
be Auburn. Auburn. Yeah,
Auburn. It is Auburn.
Yeah.
And I was
Just
like,
think about
are
what
you
it
just
would do.
bringing
You
them
could-
along
you
because
could
of
put
Alabama.
almost anybody in there, and the exclusivity of having a 15-team league that nobody else has access to would get you the best players in the country.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. It would. If you did
And you would
this,
gravitate. You would have revenue streams that you've never had before. You could put, I mean, in theory, you could put Wake Forest in there, and they would have huge advantages. They would get players they'd never had before because they want to play in that league. Be a weird way to be a world-changing kind of thing.
but you have to admit, I mean, these 15 that he named, these are blue blood programs.
Well, let me ask you this, too.
Even-
These are
even
blue blood
Nebraska.
programs, but would the thinking change? Like, for example, would a television market all of a sudden become more important than how big your stadium is? If
That's
you wanted to
true.
promote this league and this is a new thing, wouldn't you want maybe a team like Rutgers? Like, wouldn't Rutgers bring more to the table with the New York market?
Yeah, but I don't think, to that point though, I don't think you would have to really worry about it because people are going to watch because of, what these programs already are, and you're just going to make them
that's
better.
true. That's true.
I mean,
They're super games, so everybody's going to be watching.
and he does mention, because you both were, or because you were like Nebraska, and he goes,
That
it
one
is here that
surprises me.
He goes, it is here that you might note that Nebraska is 16-28 in the past 4 seasons. This is true, but Nebraska also remains a brand name, though it won't be for much longer if the Cornhuskers don't turn things around soon.
Nebraska over Florida State.
See.
I don't know.
Nebraska, Florida State is, they're kind of behind, right, in the facilities. That's why.
Well,
Yeah,
Jimbo
I
Fisher
know.
left.
That's what started the whole Jimbo thing. I know.
So
And that stadium's
Tennessee
never
not
been
in there.
nearly as big. Like, Nebraska is such a bigger operation. I've always felt like.
He does put this in there. 10 years ago, Tennessee makes this list instead of Clemson.
No, they make the list easy.
Yeah,
That's
but instead of Clemson.
10
It's a
years.
shame. It's a shame. 10 years. I mean, they make this. They
10
make
years
the
ago?
list easy.
20, maybe.
No,
10?
I think even
10 years ago. 10 years ago, Clemson you would have on the list 10 years ago? I
No.
don't think so. 10 years ago, Florida State would be on that list.
No doubt.
based
No
on
doubt.
winning and success, but I don't know if this whole thing should be based on that.
That will do it for our show today. Good stuff. Everybody enjoy this beautiful Tuesday. Continue to be safe. We want you back with us tomorrow on Hump Day starting at 10.